Chapter 1359. 1359 Chapter 1359 Condensing the Prototype Domain. Lu Ming closed his eyes and quietly digested part of the 9 dragons' memory. This part of the memory was very precious. It included the knowledge of many natural treasures and most importantly, the cultivation experience of the 9 dragons. Jiulong was a powerhouse at the peak of the martial supreme realm. How precious was his cultivation essence experience? Lu Ming slowly digested the information. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. Lu Ming finally opened his eyes. There was a hint of solemnness in his eyes. The 9 dragons' memories also contained information regarding the chaos intent. In the 9 dragons' memories, the chaos intent was the king of all intents in the world. It was extremely powerful, but it was also extremely difficult to cultivate. Especially when it came to breaking through, it was extremely difficult to turn intent into a domain. Lu Ming had known about this for a long time. When he used the domain solidifying pill back then, it did not have much of an effect. Even if a normal martial artist did not have a domain solidifying pill, he could slowly disolivere the intent runes and merge them into his spiritual spirit in 1 or 2 years. However, the difficulty of cultivating the chaos concept was more than 100 times that of ordinary concepts. In other words, if Lu Ming cultivated step by step, he would need at least 100 years to cultivate a prototype domain and step into the supreme level. 100 years was too long. It was too long for Lu Ming. No, these 100 years are the golden years for me to practice. If I spend more than 100 years practicing the chaos will, it'll be equivalent to killing my potential. Not only will the other geniuses leave me far behind, but my potential will also be exhausted, and my future achievements will be limited. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. After a long while, Lu Ming gritted his teeth, a hint of ruthlessness in his eyes. Go all out. Let's go all out. According to the cultivation experience of the 9 dragons, Lu Ming found a way. This method could allow Lu Ming to condense an embryonic stage of the domain in a short period of time. However, it was very risky. If he was not careful, his cultivation would regress and it would be difficult for him to improve. In the worst case, both his body and soul would be destroyed. However, Lu Ming still decided to give it a try. Any peak expert had experienced many difficulties and tribulations. No one had ever heard of anyone who could reach the peak smoothly. Fight! Lu Ming made his decision. Moreover, it was right here. Other than him, no one else should be able to break into this place. It was the best place to cultivate in seclusion and break through. He closed his eyes. After a long time, Lu Ming's heart sank into an empty state and he adjusted his condition to the best. Roar! Then, the 9 dragon bloodline emerged. With a loud roar, it rushed into Lu Ming's glabella and appeared in his sea of consciousness. Somewhere in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, a concept rune was suspended and it was filled with a chaotic radiance. It was Lu Ming's chaos concept rune. Suddenly, the 9 dragon bloodline emerged near the chaos intent rune. Roar! Suddenly, the bloodline of the 9 dragons roared and pounced toward the chaos intent rune. A dragon claw grabbed the intent rune. Boom! The intent runes let out a loud rumble. Lu Ming felt as if the entire world had been turned upside down, and a tearing pain came from his mind. He only recovered after a long time. Again! Die! Lu Ming shouted angrily. The 9 dragons continued to claw at the chaos concept runes. Yes, this was Lu Ming's method. He used a brutal method to blast open the chaos runes and then used a brutal method to merge them into the spiritual god. Such a method was absolutely crazy. If others were to find out about it, they would be scared to death. But without a doubt, it was the most effective and time-saving method. Boom! 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 In his sea of consciousness, the 9 dragons were constantly attacking the chaos runes. In the beginning, the 9 dragons only used one dragon claw. Slowly, the number of dragon claws increased, and they used 2, then 3. 10 days later, the 9 dragon claws of the 9 dragons attacked the chaos runes together. The runes shook violently. Kacha! At some point, the chaos intent rune made a cracking sound, and a crack appeared on it. At this moment, Lu Ming's body trembled violently and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. However, there was no panic in Lu Ming's eyes. Instead, there was joy. Continue. The 9 dragons continued to bombard the runes. As time passed, more and more cracks appeared on the runes. Another 10 days passed. Suddenly dash. Bang! The chaos concept rune exploded, and blood spurted out of Lu Ming's mouth. A crack even appeared between his eyebrows, and blood flowed out. But Lu Ming could not care about that. Melt! Go! Lu Ming roared. The spiritual god in his dantian emitted a strong suction force that attracted the chaos concept rune fragment to the spiritual god. Hoo! All of the chaos intent fragments flew into the spiritual god. At this moment, the spiritual god swelled up and emitted thousands of rays of light, almost exploding. This step was the most dangerous. If he was not careful, his spiritual spirit would explode, his physical body would collapse, and his soul would be destroyed. Suppress. With a thought, the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline appeared in his dantian. It floated above the spiritual god and suppressed him. At the same time, the third bloodline appeared above Lu Ming's head. Waves of energy enveloped Lu Ming. This was the complete plan. Lu Ming had no cultivation experience in the 9 Dragons sect. He combined it with his own conditions and set up a complete plan. He used his 3 bloodlines to complete this step. The spiritual god that was on the verge of collapse was finally suppressed and was fusing with the chaos intent fragment to form a domain. Lu Ming closed his eyes and focused on cultivation. Time passed day by day. An endless distance away from the divine wilderness continent, in a hidden place on the White Feather continent, there was a messy stone forest. In the stone forest, there was an old stone platform. De stood by the stone platform, waiting anxiously. Buzz! All of a sudden, the stone platform began to glow. The glow grew brighter and brighter until it formed a vortex on the stone platform. Suddenly, a figure appeared from the black vortex. 1, 2, and in the end, a total of 10 figures appeared and flew out of the vortex. As soon as the 10 figures flew out, the vortex on the stone platform disappeared. As soon as he saw the 10 people, De's face immediately showed respect. The leader of the 10 people was dressed in luxurious clothes. His eyes were long and narrow, and when he opened and closed them, a sharp light flashed. Behind the young man, there were 9 people. There were old men and burly men. All of them had powerful auras, giving off an extremely dangerous feeling. De from the Di family's side branch pays his respects to young Master Di Xian. De quickly bowed to the young man. You are De. The young man glanced at De with a faint disdain. I am De. De said hurriedly. Humph, De, you are really useless. You can't even take down a divine wilderness continent. Di Xian scolded coldly. De's face was ugly, but he did not dare to refute. Chapter 1360. 1360 De's secret, breaking through to the Supreme Being level. De, your goal was originally the continent group of the Divine Ruins. According to the task given to you by the family back then, if you could unify the continent group of the Divine Ruins by yourself, you could return to the Di family and become a direct descendant of the Di family. Unfortunately, it seems that you have no hope. Di Xian sneered. De lowered his head even more, and his eyes flashed with raging anger. It was all Lu Ming's fault. It was all because of Lu Ming that he had ruined his plan. The Di family originated from the Yuan continent and was a powerful force there. As for De, he was a branch disciple of the Di family, so his status was low. However, there was a rule in the Di family. As for those from the branch family, if they wanted to join the direct line, obtain the status of the direct line, and even obtain the cultivation conditions and resources of the direct line, they had to complete a task assigned by the Di family. De's mission was to unify the continent group of the Divine Ruins with his own power. This mission wasn't considered to be very difficult among the missions of the Di family. However, De's talent was limited. He had come to the continent group of the Divine Ruins 10,000 years ago. However, at that time, his cultivation level had just broken through to the Martial Emperor realm. That was why he chose the Divine Wilderness continent, which was not very strong, to set up the Emperor's Sky Divine Palace and begin his plan. At the same time, he would strengthen his cultivation and cultivate the spirit body of 10,000 meridians. Now, his plan was slowly maturing. His cultivation had already reached the peak of the Lever 2 Martial Royal Realm. He had obtained the Myriad Meridian's spirit body by chance and was just one step away from perfection. He was confident that as long as he obtained one more drop of the 9 dragons' blood essence, he would reach perfection. At that time, he would be able to break through to the Lever 3 Martial Royal Realm with the help of the Myriad Spiritual Veins body. By then, with his combat power, he could easily unify the Divine Wilderness continent. Even if he spent some more time, as long as his cultivation broke through to the 4th level of the Martial Royal Realm, it would not be a problem for him to unify the Divine Ruins continent. At that time, he would be able to return to the Di family and become a direct descendant of the Di family. His status would be greatly improved, and with the support of all kinds of resources, not only would his cultivation base improve by leaps and bounds, but even his bloodline status would also be different. Unfortunately, everything was ruined by Lu Ming. He had not been able to obtain Lu Ming's 9 dragon blood essence, so he had started the war rashly. He wanted to unify the Divine Wilderness continent first and use the entire Divine Wilderness continent's power to help him cultivate the Myriad Meridian's spiritual body. However, in the end, Lu Ming still ruined everything. Even the 10,000 meridian spirit body that he had cultivated for 10,000 years was destroyed in a day. He had no hope. It was all Lu Ming. De's eyes turned red at the thought of Lu Ming. I also sent Di Hongcheng and Di Honglei to help you. Where are they now? Do you know how much it costs to teleport from the Yuan continent to a wild island like the continent group of the Divine Ruins? Di Xian shouted coldly again. In his words, the Divine Ruins continent cluster became a savage island. Di Hongcheng. They are dead. Di stuttered. What? Where are the 2 Emperor's spiritual weapons? Di Xian's eyes widened, and his cold killing intent filled the air. Di's heart trembled. Di Xian was the true direct descendant of the Di family. His status was much higher than his. If he was angered, not only him, even his own branch in the Di family would be in danger. Young Master Xian, please calm down. It's all that Lu Ming's fault. If not for him, I would have been able to unify the continent group of the Divine Ruins before long. De quickly asked for forgiveness. Lu Ming. Di Xian's eyes widened. Yes, Lu Ming. De immediately told him about the previous battle and Lu Ming. You're saying that his cultivation hasn't reached the Emperor realm? I didn't think that a mere barbarian Emperor's island would have such a prodigy. This person must have some secrets. He, take him down and I'll study him. Di Xian's eyes were cold. Let's go. De, you lead the way. We'll go to the Divine Wilderness continent and meet that Lu Ming. Di Xian ordered. Yes. De nodded repeatedly and led the way. His face was ferocious. Lu Ming was still cultivating in the 9 dragon ruins. As the days passed, the spirit god in Lu Ming's dantian gradually calmed down. There was a faint glow, as if it was nurturing something. On a certain day, the spiritual god suddenly trembled, and a chaotic light flashed. It's done. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with ecstasy. At the same time, Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel and the third bloodline. After such a long time, Lu Ming felt that the embryonic form of the chaos domain had finally been condensed successfully. He waved his hand and piles of raw gemstones appeared around Lu Ming. The bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. It opened its mouth, and piles of raw gemstones were devoured by the bloodline of the 9 dragons and began to refine. The energy of the origin stone was constantly transformed into true essence and integrated into the spiritual god. The chaotic light in the spiritual god became more and more obvious. After a few more days, Lu Ming had devoured 300 million raw gemstones. The aura on his body was getting stronger and stronger, and his essential core was getting more and more abundant. At a certain moment, buzz! A circle of light spread out from the spiritual god and grew larger and larger. It covered a radius of 100 meters from Lu Ming's body. Domain, the embryonic form of the domain had finally taken shape. This was the embryonic form of the chaos domain. Right now, it was only an embryonic form. There was still a long way to go before it could form a real domain. In the future, Lu Ming would need to continuously comprehend and nurture it. Slowly, the embryonic form of the domain would become bigger and more mature. In the future, when he broke through to the Emperor realm, it would naturally become a complete domain. With a single thought, the embryonic form of the domain shrank and covered the surface of Lu Ming's body. Boom! Lu Ming casually threw a punch and the space collapsed, revealing a dark space cave. What a powerful force! Lu Ming felt that the power of the embryonic chaos domain was much stronger than the pure chaos concept. Is this the power of an autarch? Lu Ming could feel the majestic energy in his body and a confident smile appeared on his face. After condensing the embryonic form of the domain, Lu Ming had naturally stepped into the supreme level. His current strength was at least several times stronger than before. He was confident that he could easily kill a peak level 2 martial royal realm expert with a king's spiritual weapon, such as Di Hongcheng, without the help of his second body. There's less than a month before the alliance establishment ceremony. It's time to go back. At the thought of this, Lu Ming immediately returned. There were no obstacles on the way back. Lu Ming left the 9 dragons' ruins easily. He tore open the space and soon returned to Northern Plains. At that moment, the Imperial Dragon City was completed. The first thing Lu Ming did when he returned to the Northern Plains was to give the order to start moving to the Imperial Dragon City. Dragon Emperor City was very magnificent and vast. Many people could live there. Additionally, the cultivation conditions in Dragon Emperor City were very good. Of course, many people wanted to move there. Regarding this, Lu Ming had already discussed with the various emperors and decided on the candidates to move to the Imperial Dragon City. Chapter 1361. 1361 The Alliance Master arrived, and De came to kill. The great relocation had begun. The Lu family that Lu Ming was from, as well as Hua Qi and the others, had all moved to the Imperial Dragon City. Furthermore, they were given the most central piece of land and the best cultivation environment. Dragon Emperor City started to be boisterous. In just half a month, millions of people had been transferred into the Imperial Dragon City through the interterritory teleportation formation. However, as for the huge territory of Dragon Emperor City, millions of people were just a small part of it. More and more people would move in gradually. After moving to the Imperial Dragon City, many people started to be busy preparing for the Alliance establishment ceremony. All the powerful cultivators in the Divine Wilderness continent began to gather at the Imperial Dragon City. On this day, De and the others also stepped into the Divine Wilderness continent. As soon as they entered, they heard that the Imperial Dragon City was going to hold an alliance establishing ceremony in a few days. Hee, that's good. I'll kill Lu Ming at the so-called alliance establishment ceremony. Di Xian sneered. Young Master Di Xian, that Lu Ming can control the Divine 9 Dragon Cauldron. He's very powerful. We have to be careful. De said. The divine nine-dragon cauldron controlled by Lu Ming was so powerful and shocking that even a level 3 martial royal realm expert would have to avoid it. Well, let's go to 9 dragons and seal the divine nine-dragon cauldron so that Lu Ming can't use it. Di Xian said. Everyone tore open the space and headed toward 9 dragons. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. The alliance establishment ceremony officially began. At the Imperial Dragon City, at the end of the Divine Dragon Passage, the square paved with white jade was full of experts. Other than Western Desert, all the emperors had arrived. There were hundreds of supreme martial artists, and tens of thousands of sect masters and sect leaders of various forces. They sat down on the seats on both sides of the square. These people were all at the pinnacle of the divine wilderness continent. They were all important figures who stood at the very top. Today, they were all gathered here. Outside the square, there was an even more spacious place filled with banquet tables. There were at least 1 million people gathered here. Not only that, across the divine wilderness mainland, all the factions of varying sizes were celebrating. Today, the world was celebrating. The Vice Alliance Master has arrived. A voice came from the sky and spread throughout the entire Imperial Dragon City. Xiao Wan and the old general, one on the left and one on the right, soared into the air and landed on either side of the square. Subordinate greets the 2 Vice Alliance Masters. Everyone present stood up and saluted the 2 Vice Alliance Masters. Rise. Please rise. Xiao Wan and the old general both raised their hands. After that, Xiao Wan and the old general fixated onto the deep place of Dragon Emperor City. The Alliance Master has arrived. The voice from before rang out again. Buzz. Buzz. Whoosh. All the onlookers were looking at the depth of Dragon Emperor City. In the depths of the Imperial Dragon City, a few figures were approaching. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Lu Ming's parents, Lu Yuntian, and Li Ping. Today, Lu Ming had changed his clothes. He was wearing a long purple gold robe with a majestic and lifelike 9-clawed true dragon embroidered on it. Her long hair was tied up high, and she was wearing a purple gold crown, golden dragon boots, and a golden jade belt around her waist. An invisible, powerful pressure was being emitted. The 4 of them landed at the top of the square. We pay our respects to the Alliance Master. At the scene, inside and outside the square, millions of experts bowed to Lu Ming. The sound waves gathered and the clouds in the sky were shaken away. No need for formalities, please sit. Lu Ming waved his hand and his voice could be heard from afar. Thank you, Alliance Master. Millions of people began to take their seats. Today, we're here to celebrate the establishment of the Dragon Alliance, and then, we'll split the territories. Lu Ming spoke. He did not say many words but many people's hearts were beating faster. The Dragon Alliance had unified the world, including Northern Plains, Eastern Barren, Southern Nether, Central Continent, and the other vast territories. How to infect them and who to send to guard them were the questions everyone was concerned about. There were huge benefits to be gained from this. Let's start. Lu Ming announced. The first step was for many factions, big and small, to step forward and make a blood oath to form the Dragon Alliance and rule the Divine Wilderness. Ha ha ha, it seems that I came at the right time today. At this moment, a burst of laughter came from the distance. A golden light flashed and a figure appeared in the sky. That is De. It's De. Many people shouted, and some people even showed fear on their faces. Back then, Martial Emperor De had occupied almost half of the Divine Wilderness continent. He was too powerful. Many forces, big and small, had been ruled by De. Now that De had appeared, those people naturally panicked. De, you still dare to come here? That's great. Today, I'll use your blood as a sacrifice to the flag. Xiao Wan bellowed, a burst of demonic qi soaring into the sky. Lu Ming did not say anything. A look of doubt flashed in his eyes. He could clearly see Di Yi's current realm. He was only at the peak of the Level 1 martial royal realm. In the last battle, Di Yi had injured his origin and his cultivation had dropped by 1 level. With such a cultivation, any one of them could easily kill Di Yi, let alone Lu Ming, Xiao Wan, the old general, or Tu Qian. Why did Di Yi still dare to come here? Di Yi, let the others come out together. Lu Ming said, looking behind Di Yi. Ha ha ha, let this young master show himself, and that will be the time of your death. A burst of laughter was heard as the space cracked open. 10 figures appeared in the sky, looking down at the Imperial Dragon City. Who are these people? I've never seen him before. Many people were discussing. You are Lu Ming. Di Xian's gaze turned to Lu Ming. Not bad. Lu Ming said. Good, very good. I heard that you killed 2 experts of my Di family, Di Hongcheng and Di Honglei, and even took away their emperor weapons. Now, come over and hand over the emperor weapons. Kneel down and beg me to spare your life. Perhaps I can consider sparing your life. Di Xian put his hands behind his back and looked down at Lu Ming with a haughty look. Impudent. How dare you disrespect the Alliance Master? You should be killed. Let's go. A loud shout came from the square as a tall figure soared into the sky. A vast aura filled the entire place. He was an emperor. He used to be the emperor of a dominant force in the central continent. His name was Martial Emperor Kong Tian, and he had surrendered to Lu Ming. Therefore, he had the lowest status among the many emperors in the Dragon Alliance. He had been looking for an opportunity to show off in front of Lu Ming and win his trust. Now that he had such a good opportunity, he had to seize it. Boom! Martial Emperor Kongtian's palm struck towards Di Xian. How dare you disrespect young Master Di Xian, die! A middle-aged man walked out from behind Di Xian. He held a sword with both hands and slashed. A terrifying sword light instantly appeared above Martial Emperor Kongtian's head. It broke through his attack and defense and slashed down. Martial Emperor Kong Tian screamed as he was cut in half. Even his spiritual god exploded and was destroyed. Chapter 1362. 1362 Chapter 1362, so many experts. He had killed an emperor with a single strike. Most of the people present widened their eyes in shock. Peak of the 2nd level martial royal realm. This man is at the peak of the 2nd level martial royal realm. Let's go, a sovereign said solemnly. The middle-aged man behind Di Xian was a peak level 2 martial royal realm expert. Boom! 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 Xiao Wan, the old general, and the others released their auras. All the emperors of the Dragon Alliance gathered their auras and pressed down on Di Xian and the others. Cold killing intent burst out of their bodies. How dare you kill people in Dragon Emperor City? All of you will be killed today. The old general's voice was cold. No matter who you are, you will pay the price today. Xiao Wan said. A terrifying blade light flickered on his body. Stay. The price? Ha ha ha, how laughable, ignorant, I'd like to see how you can make me stay today. Di Xian laughed and waved his hand. Boom! 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 Behind Di Xian, auras burst out from the remaining people. Each wisp of qi was like a wisp of smoke. Each wisp of qi was boundless and formed a powerful pressure, which pressed on the Imperial Dragon City and the hearts of the people. The pupils of Xiao Wan, the old general, and the others rapidly enlarged, revealing shock and disbelief. The aura of these people was too strong. Including the middle-aged man who had attacked earlier, there were a total of 6 people. All of them were at the peak of the 2nd level martial royal realm. The other 2 had even more terrifying auras. They were much stronger than the peak level 2 martial royal realm. 3rd level martial emperor realm. It was the aura of a level 3 martial emperor. 6 of them were at the peak of the second-level martial royal realm, and 2 of them were at the third level. There was also a silver-haired old man who stood closely behind Dicien. He did not give off any aura, but the feeling he gave off was even more dangerous. In Dragon Emperor City, everyone's heart sank. What kind of tremendous power was this? Now, in the Divine Wilderness continent, the strongest was only at the peak of the second-level martial royal realm. Furthermore, there were only a few people who were at the peak of the realm. Not a single one of them was at the third-level martial emperor realm. But now, there were 6 peak level 2 martial royal realm experts and 2 level 3 martial royal realm experts behind Dicien. How could they fight? Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, aren't you very arrogant? Today, the experts of my D family have arrived, and you will all die. Di laughed. His eyes were full of ferocity and his voice was full of hatred. Today, he wanted Lu Ming to suffer a fate worse than death. Di Yi's voice made many people tremble. Could it be that the Dragon Alliance was going to be destroyed before it was officially established? Lu Ming, how is it? Hurry up and hand over the Emperor's spiritual weapon and come here to admit your guilt. Maybe you can keep your dog life. Dicien sneered and continued to look down at Lu Ming, as if he was certain that he would win. Emperor's spiritual weapons were the spiritual weapons that only peak Emperor experts could unleash their strongest power. Even to Dicien, they were precious. Those 2 Emperor's spiritual weapons were one of the few he had. Out of the 9 experts he had brought, only 1 or 2 of them had an Emperor's spiritual weapon. Ming, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping looked at Lu Ming with worry. Father, Mother, don't worry. It'll be fine. Lu Ming smiled at Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. His smile was filled with confidence. For some reason, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping felt at ease when they saw Lu Ming's smile. Then, Lu Ming ignored Dicien and looked at Di. Di, you escaped last time. You should have hidden well. That way, you might have been able to survive. But you came here to die. You brought this on yourself. Lu Ming spoke slowly, causing many people to be stunned. In such a situation, Lu Ming was still thinking about killing Di. He couldn't even protect himself. Only the eyes of a few people, such as Xiao Wan, Xia Zhouyang, and Yan Kuangtu, lit up. They knew Lu Ming very well. Lu Ming would not do anything without a reason. Di himself was also stunned. Lu Ming still wanted to kill him under such circumstances. Where did Lu Ming's confidence come from? Dicien's face darkened. Lu Ming actually dared to ignore him. Bang! Bang! Dicien stepped forward step by step, his body releasing a powerful aura. Supreme Martial Artist. Dicien's cultivation base was at the Supreme Being realm. This shocked many people in Dragon Emperor City. Because Dicien didn't look very old. He was definitely not more than 30 years old. He might even only be in his early 20s. To reach the supreme level in his early 20s was too shocking. This had never happened before in the history of the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming, I've heard that you're very powerful. I'd like to experience it today. Dicien spoke, his aura locked onto Lu Ming. You want to challenge me? The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. Behind Dicien, Di Yi's eyes flickered, but he did not speak. He knew that some of the supreme talents in the Emperor family had shocking combat strength and were extremely terrifying. They were far from what some of the so-called supreme talents in the continent of the Divine Ruins could compare to. Although Lu Ming was strong, he might be able to fight Dicien. Even if he could not fight Dicien, Lu Ming would offend Dicien even more and it would be beneficial to him. Not bad, do you dare to accept the challenge? Dicien said. Since you're looking for a beating, of course I'll fulfill your wish. Lu Ming smiled and stepped forward, facing Dicien from a distance. Lu Ming, I heard that you're a rare genius in the divine wilderness continent, but I'll let you know that the so-called geniuses of a desolate island like yours are just a joke. Di Xian sneered. His body started to shine like wisps of sword chi. Buzz! A combat sword appeared in Di Xian's hand. He strode toward Lu Ming and shouted, "Kill!" Whoosh! A beam of sword chi split the sky and slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch and activated the prison-suppressing heavenly technique. The fist force and the sword chi collided. The space was twisted into pieces. Lu Ming's body trembled and he actually took 3 steps back. Di Xian, on the other hand, stood still in the air. Hiss hiss hiss. The Imperial Dragon City was filled with gasps. Lu Ming was forced to retreat by a single sword. In the Battle of the Holy City, everyone still remembered Lu Ming's shocking combat strength. Even a peak second-level martial emperor with an emperor's spiritual weapon was killed by Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming was forced to retreat by a single sword. Moreover, the opponent was a young man who was not even 30 years old. This was shocking. His body. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was secretly shocked. Although he had not used his full strength and had only revealed his cultivation at the great circle of the spiritual god realm, he had still unleashed 9 streams of dragon power and executed the prison-suppressing heaven technique. Even an ordinary emperor would not be a match for him. However, his opponent was only a supreme being, and the battle prowess he had unleashed was astonishing. What surprised Lu Ming the most was the body of the other party. It was a spirit body. That's right. The other party was only a supreme martial artist, but he had a spiritual body. This was inconceivable. Lu Ming could sense very clearly that the other party's spirit body was not a pure spirit body like his. It was a real spirit body with special attributes. Chapter 1363. 1363 Chapter 1363 Innate Spirit Body. But didn't a true spirit body have to step into the emperor realm before it could be condensed? Then. That's a spirit body. That's right, it's really a spirit body, a type of sword spirit body. How is that possible? How can a supreme martial artist possess a spirit body? The Emperor of the Dragon Alliance was in an uproar. Even existences like Xiao Wan and the old general, who had lived for many years, were shocked. They could naturally feel the power of Di Xian's spirit body. Innate spirit body, it's an innate spirit body. Ha, these country bumpkins don't know the power of an innate spirit body. An innate spirit body is an innate spirit body. Behind him, Di Yi's eyes were filled with shock, but at the same time, he laughed in his heart. He was born in the Yuan continent, so his vision was naturally different. He knew that some people were blessed by the heavens and were born with a spirit body. This was called an innate spirit body. Such people were innately unrivaled geniuses. Needless to say, their bloodline would definitely be able to awaken to the 9th level of the divine level. At the same time, their bloodline and spirit body would definitely be in perfect harmony. This kind of person, whether it was bloodline martial techniques, comprehension of intent, or other martial techniques, was blessed by the heavens and had an advantage over others. Therefore, his combat strength was also terrifyingly strong. Di Xian was such a person. If you can block one of my moves, come again. Die! Di Xian shouted. On the surface of his body, wisps of sword-like radiance circulated. He slashed his combat sword, and the sword chi was shocking as it slashed toward Lu Ming. Chaos. Lu Ming took a step forward and cast the chaos will. At the same time, his third bloodline appeared and he threw another punch. The same prison-suppressing heaven technique, when combined with the chaos intent, had its power increase explosively. Boom! This time, Lu Ming did not move an inch. On the other hand, Di Xian retreated backward. Damn it, kill! Di Xian flew into a rage after being pushed back. He raised his aura to the maximum and covered his entire body with his territory. He charged at Lu Ming and slashed with his sword. The roars of hundreds of beasts could be heard. Di Xian's martial technique wasn't simple. It seemed to push the power of the domain to its limit. Domain martial technique. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. A domain martial skill was the same as a concept martial skill. Martial techniques of creation could exert the power of creation to the extreme, while martial techniques of domain could exert the power of domain to the extreme. Di Xian's domain martial skill was even more powerful, and his sword light seemed to be able to destroy everything. Lu Ming infused the chaos concept into his body and engaged in an intense battle with his opponent. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. To be honest, Di Xian was very powerful. He was the strongest member of the younger generation that Lu Ming had met so far. His combat strength was comparable to Lu Ming's combat strength before he broke through to the Supreme Being realm. It was equivalent to the peak of the second-level martial royal realm. He was only a supreme martial artist, but his battle prowess was already so shocking that it was beyond imagination. In a battle of the same level, he was even stronger than Long Chen. One must know that the bloodline awakened by Long Chen was one of the top 10 war beasts, the Archean dragon-esque elephant. However, now that Lu Ming had broken through to the Supreme Being realm, he naturally did not take him seriously. Damn it! How could there be such a powerful person on a mere savage island? The more they fought, the more shocked Di Xian was. This person must have a secret. If I can obtain his secret, I will definitely become stronger. I might even be able to compete with those monstrous geniuses in the clan. Thinking of this, Di Xian's heart started to burn. Buzz! His glabella glowed and a golden combat sword flew out, slashing at Lu Ming. Clang! Lu Ming's punch landed on the combat sword and he could not help but retreat. An emperor's spiritual weapon. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, but he was not surprised. The other party was so talented and had an extraordinary background. It was normal for him to have an emperor's spiritual weapon. Die! Di Xian shouted and charged at Lu Ming. Is this all you've got? Then let's end this. Chaos concept. Lu Ming shouted. The chaos concept that lingered around his body suddenly changed. At first, it shrank rapidly and then bloomed. What bloomed out was no longer intent, but a domain, the embryonic form of the chaos domain. At the same time, the aura on Lu Ming's body rose rapidly. Supreme Martial Artist. The Alliance Master has broken through to the Supreme Martial Artist realm. Xiao Wan and the others were overjoyed. Boom! Lu Ming's fist was wrapped in the early stage of the Chaos Realm. He punched Di Xian's Emperor spiritual weapon sword. Clang! The sword shook violently. Di Xian's expression changed. His body shook and he was sent flying like a cannonball. Blood spurted out of his mouth. When Lu Ming revealed his true abilities, he was crushed and was severely injured by a single punch. Kill! Lu Ming moved and caught up with Di Xian. He threw a punch at Di Xian's heart. This punch was enough to penetrate Di Xian's heart. However, just as Lu Ming's punch was about to hit Di Xian's heart, Di Xian's body suddenly emitted a golden light and a golden armor appeared. Thump! Lu Ming's fist landed on the armor. The armor shook violently but it was not broken. It blocked most of Lu Ming's fist force. However, Lu Ming's punch was too powerful. Although the armor had blocked most of the force, a small part of the force from the punch still hit Di Xian's body. Di Xian screamed in pain. His chest caved in and blood spurted out of his mouth. It's a defensive emperor spiritual weapon. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This Emperor Xian was really rich. It even had a defensive emperor spiritual weapon. The ones that Lu Ming had encountered in the past were all offensive emperor spiritual weapons. In comparison, defensive emperor spiritual weapons were more precious than offensive ones. It was a defensive emperor's spiritual weapon that could save one's life at critical moments. Just like just now, if Di Xian did not have this armor, he would have been killed by Lu Ming with one punch. How dare you hurt the young master? Kill him. Di Xian was severely injured. The subordinates he had brought with him all roared in anger and launched fierce attacks at Lu Ming. 6 peak second-level martial emperors and 2 third-level martial emperors attacked at the same time. The power was shocking. Not good. The expressions of Xiao Wan, Xia Jiuyang, and the others changed drastically. Kill. A combat sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was the Dragon Vein Sword, the Emperor's spiritual weapon that he had snatched from the Flood Dragon Sovereign when he was fighting for the pure spirit body cultivation technique in the ancient underwater city. Now that Lu Ming had broken through to the martial emperor realm and mastered the embryonic form of his territory, he could already activate the power of an emperor's spiritual weapon. Moreover, Lu Ming's early stage domain was the early stage of the chaos domain. The chaos domain could transform into other domains at will. In other words, no matter what type of king's spiritual weapon it was, except for a few types such as spacetime, Lu Ming could use it. Whoosh! The combat sword slashed across, and a peak lever 2 martial royal realm expert was cut in half at the waist, dying on the spot. Clang! Then, he moved his sword horizontally and exchanged a blow with a lever 3 martial royal realm expert, forcing him to retreat. Let's attack. Buzz! Xiao Wan controlled an emperor's spiritual weapon and a demonic blade to attack the 2 peak lever 2 martial royal realm martial artists. At the same time, the old general and Tu Qian also made their moves. Both of them controlled their king's spiritual weapons and enveloped the remaining 2 peak lever 2 martial royal realm martial artists. None of the 6 peak second level martial royal realm experts under Di Xian had an emperor's spiritual weapon, so Xiao Wan and the other 2 were enough to deal with them. Chapter 1364. 1364 Killing a lever 3 martial emperor. Kill them all. In the distance, Di Xian let out an angry roar. It was too dangerous just now. Di Xian felt like he had just walked past the god of death. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't expect that he would almost be killed by someone of the same generation on a remote island. He was furious and his killing intent was cold. The Esilavira-haired old man appeared behind Di Xian, but he did not attack. Let's see who kills who. Xiao Wan and the other 2 blocked the 5 peak lever 2 martial royal realm experts, while Lu Ming charged at the 2 lever 3 martial royal realm experts. Buzz! Buzz! The sound of swords resonated in the sky. 2 third-level martial royal realm martial artists each took out a golden combat sword. They were both king's spiritual weapons. How powerful was an emperor's spiritual weapon that was controlled by a lever 3 martial royal realm expert? However, Lu Ming was not afraid at all. He slashed down with the dragon pattern sword, which was wrapped in the early stage of the chaos domain. Clang! The 2 swords clashed, forming rings of sword ripples that spread out. The lever 3 martial royal realm expert was no match for Lu Ming. His body trembled and he retreated. How is that possible? Not far away, Di Xian, and the Esilavira-haired old man all narrowed their eyes in disbelief. Lu Ming's combat strength could actually suppress a lever 3 martial royal realm expert. Below, the experts of the Dragon Alliance were extremely excited. Some people clenched their fists tightly. Lu Ming was too powerful. He had not even broken through to the martial emperor realm, but he could already suppress a 3rd-level martial emperor. This was a 3rd-level martial royal realm. There was no one like him in the divine wilderness continent. 30,000 years ago, Xiao Wan had only reached the 3rd level of the martial royal realm at his peak. Such an expert was suppressed by Lu Ming. Alliance Master, this was the Alliance Master of their Dragon Alliance. If it was during the Battle of the Holy City, Lu Ming would not be a match for a 3rd-level martial royal realm expert. Moreover, the other party had an emperor's spiritual weapon. However, now that Lu Ming had broken through to the supreme level, his combat strength had increased tremendously. He was no longer the same as he was during the Battle of the Holy City. Whoosh! At this moment, the other third-level martial monarch powerhouse charged at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not seem to see it. He held the dragon vein sword and charged towards the person he had repelled. Just as the sword of the person behind was approaching Lu Ming at high speed, a figure stepped out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows. It was Lu Ming's clone. Whoosh! The second body put his fingers together like a sword and slashed out. A sword light slashed out and blocked the other party's combat sword. During this period of time, Lu Ming's main body had been cultivating. Naturally, his secondary body had not been idle. The second body focused on cultivation and had no other thoughts, so his improvement speed was even faster. During the Battle of the Holy City, the second body had only condensed one golden spirit lamp, but during this time, the second body had already condensed a second golden spirit lamp, and his combat power had greatly increased. Whoosh! 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 Next, 5 phoenix feather flying swords flew out from between his brows and attacked the other party. The other party was shocked and could only wave his sword to block. Lu Ming took the lead and continued to attack his opponent. The embryonic form of the chaos domain wrapped around the dragon pattern sword. Lu Ming's every sword attack was unimaginably powerful. Clang! The other party was completely passive and could only wave his sword to block. The two swords clashed for the second time. The other party's body trembled continuously, and his face turned pale as he was forced to retreat. Buzz! Whoosh! Lu Ming launched a storm-like attack, the dragon vein sword slashing out continuously. Lu Ming had the upper hand. Suddenly dash! 4 sealing gates appeared in the sky. They shone with bright light and sealed the other party. At that moment, the other party was frozen. Even though it was only for a moment, it was enough. Prison-suppressing steel. Lu Ming cast blood fusion and transformed into the prison-suppressing steel. Boom! The prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the other party. Lu Ming had broken through to the Supreme Being realm and comprehended the embryonic form of the Chaos realm. He had transformed into the prison-suppressing steel. How powerful was he? Although the other party had broken open the ceiling door at the critical moment and blocked it with his combat sword, his body still trembled. His body made crackling sounds and almost exploded. Blood spurted out of his mouth. Buzz! Under the control of Lu Ming's spiritual sense, the dragon vein sword was as fast as lightning and slashed across. The other party had just been severely injured by the prison-suppressing steel that Lu Ming had transformed into. How could he dodge? The dragon vein sword slashed down, and a head flew high into the air. The dragon vein sword twisted again, and the opponent's spiritual god was also turned into ashes. A level 3 martial royal realm expert had died. On the other side, the battle of the second body was also coming to an end. The second body lit up another golden spirit lamp, and his combat power was also greatly improved compared to the Battle of the Holy City. At this time, he took out the all formation picture and trapped the enemy. Whoosh! 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 5 phoenix feather flying swords shot out and pierced 5 holes in the opponent's body, killing the opponent in one fell swoop. The 2 level 3 martial royal realm experts were killed just like that. In the Imperial Dragon City, the experts of the Dragon Alliance were both shocked and overjoyed. As for D Xian, and the others, they looked incredulous. Kill! Kill! Lu Ming's main body and secondary body charged at D Xian at the same time. Not good. Young master, quickly retreat. The expression of the Esilavira-haired old man beside D Xian changed. A golden combat sword appeared in his hand. He took a step forward and arrived in front of D Xian. The dazzling sword Qi slashed at Lu Ming. Without a doubt, the Esilavira-haired elder's sword was also an emperor's spiritual weapon. At the same time, the Esilavira-haired elder's cultivation was even more shocking. He had reached the peak of the Lever 3 martial royal realm. However, the Esilavira-haired elder was still no match for the joint attack of Lu Ming's main body and second body. After exchanging a few moves, the Esilavira-haired elder retreated continuously. "Let's go, retreat." Di Xian panicked. Lu Ming's strength was beyond his imagination. He was much stronger than what Di had said. He could not even defeat a Lever 3 martial royal realm expert. He shouted and turned to run. Clang! Boom! Lu Ming's main body joined forces and once again exchanged a blow with the Esilavira-haired elder, forcing him to retreat dozens of miles. Buzz! The second body charged towards Di Xian. Not good. The Esilavira-haired old man's expression changed drastically. He could not care less about the battle. He became one with his sword and turned into a sword light, appearing in front of Di Xian in an instant. In an instant, he slashed out 108 sword lights in all directions. The mental energy fire between his eyebrows jumped. On the million formation illustration, countless formations shone. All kinds of formations, all kinds of attacks, all kinds of trapping formations poured toward the Esilavira-haired old man and Di Xian. At the same time, 5 phoenix feather flying swords took the time to assassinate. Lu Ming's main body had also arrived. The Esilavira-haired old man tried his best to protect Di Xian, but the situation was dangerous. "Young master, use the space-piercing shuttle." The Esilavira-haired old man roared. Space-piercing shuttle, yes, yes, yes. Di Xian was so scared that he didn't know what to do. His face was pale and his body was trembling. After the Esilavira-haired old man's reminder, he nodded repeatedly. The space between his brows lit up and a spirit weapon with 2 sharp ends and a thicker center flew out. As soon as this spiritual weapon appeared, it expanded rapidly and a layer of light enveloped Di Xian and the Esilavira-haired old man. "Let's go." The Esilavira-haired old man activated his Jin Yuan, and the space-breaking shuttle shone. With a shake, it directly shattered the void and disappeared. He couldn't care about the others. Chapter 1365. 1365 Chapter 1365 Killing DE. "You want to leave?" Boom! The prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the void, and the space within 1,000 miles exploded. However, the space-breaking shuttle had disappeared. It's another Emperor's spiritual weapon, and it's the escape type. Lu Ming frowned and felt that it was a pity. The other party was too rich and had all kinds of Emperor's spiritual weapons. First, there were offensive types, then there were defensive types, and now, there were even escape types. Under the control of the Esilavira-haired old man, the space-breaking shuttle was so fast that it disappeared in an instant. It was much faster than tearing the void. Di Xian had escaped. Lu Ming turned his gaze to other directions. "De, where are you going?" Lu Ming transformed back into his human form, a cold smile on his lips. At this time, De was desperately fleeing. De's face was full of fear and disbelief. It was only a difference of a few months, but Lu Ming's combat strength had once again increased by a large margin. Without the help of the divine 9-dragon cauldron, he was able to kill a Lever 3 martial royal realm expert. How is that possible? How is that possible? De roared in his heart, extremely unwilling, and fled for his life at the same time. Buzz! Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him. Lu Ming. De's pupils contracted sharply. It was Lu Ming's clone that appeared in front of De. De, you can't burn your spirit body this time. Do you think you can still escape? Lu Ming's voice came from behind De. Behind him was the main body. Kill. De was very decisive and attacked directly. However, his cultivation had regressed to the peak of the level 1 martial royal realm and his myriad spiritual meridian's body had been destroyed. His combat strength was far inferior to Lu Ming's. He waved his hand and the all-array diagram appeared, trapping De in it. De, I'll kill you later. Lu Ming sneered. He took a step forward and charged toward the battlefield where Xiao Wan and the others were. The 5-peak level 2 martial royal realm experts were almost scared out of their wits. They wanted to escape, but Xiao Wan and the others kept them busy. Whoosh! 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 Lu Ming held the dragon vein sword and slashed 5 times, one at a time. 5-peak level 2 martial royal realm experts were killed in the air. Everyone in the Imperial Dragon City was stunned as they looked at Lu Ming in a daze. The 5-peak level 2 martial royal realm experts killed 5 people with 5 slashes. This visual effect and impact were too strong. In the Divine Wilderness continent, a peak 2nd level martial royal realm expert would be one of the strongest. But in Lu Ming's hands, he was as weak as a chicken. The Alliance Master is invincible. Alliance Master is unparalleled. All of a sudden, a deafening roar burst out in the Imperial Dragon City. Countless people were so excited that their faces turned red and they roared madly. At this moment, Lu Ming's figure was irreplaceable in their hearts. He was indomitable and unrivaled. The whistling sound came wave after wave. Lu Ming's prestige had reached its peak. Lu Ming raised his hand and pressed down on the air. The Imperial Dragon City quieted down at once. Buzz! Lu Ming moved his body and appeared in front of De. Lu Ming, do you know what kind of people we are? Do you know who Di Xiangongzi is? I'm telling you, we are from the Yuan continent, the Di family, one of the major clans of the Yuan continent. If you dare to kill a member of the Di family, you are dead meat. Young Master Di Xian will not let you off. The entire Divine Wilderness continent will be buried with you. De roared. A big sect in the Yuanlu continent? The Di family? Lu Ming frowned. He had long guessed that Di Xian, and the others had extraordinary origins. He did not expect them to be a big force in the Yuan continent. The pupils of Xiao Wan, the old general, and the others contracted, and they gasped. A big sect in Yuanlu. De actually came from Yuanlu. That was the Yuan continent. It was not something the Divine Wilderness continent or the Divine Ruins could compare to. Legend had it that in the Yuan continent, experts were as common as clouds and as common as rain. There were countless existences that had surpassed the martial emperor realm. An expert of that level could destroy the Divine Wilderness continent with a snap of his fingers. Everyone who had heard of the rumors in the Yuan continent was worried. Seeing this, De sneered and said, Lu Ming, you'd better let me go. Maybe I can help you. Ha ha ha, what a joke. Before De could finish his sentence, Lu Ming laughed and interrupted him. De, you used to be a lord of a region. Now, in order to survive, you are using this to scare me. It's really pitiful and sad. Lu Ming sneered. Lu Ming, you. De was furious. De, I'm telling you, you must die today. And that Di Xian, if he stops here, it's fine. But if he is stubborn, the emperor family of Yuanlu will be destroyed together. Lu Ming shouted, his voice rumbling throughout the Imperial Dragon City. At most, the Yuanlu emperor family would be wiped out. What kind of heroic spirit was this? How confident was he? De was stunned, and then laughed wildly. Lu Ming, you're the one who wants to destroy the Di family. You're so short-sighted, you're just a frog at the bottom of a well. Lu Ming, do you know how many experts there are in the Yuan continent? Do you know how powerful the Di family is? How dare you claim that you've annihilated the Di family? If your words were to spread to Yuan continent, I don't know how many people would laugh their teeth off. De laughed, as if he did not care about life and death. So what if I'm strong? Back then, I came from a small country in the mysterious region of the Eastern Barren Territory. At that time, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was also a giant, and you, De, were also high and mighty. But how are you now? Lu Ming said calmly, his eyes full of confidence. De, shut up. Roar. The bloodline of the 9 dragons emerged above Lu Ming's head. De, haven't you always wanted the 9 dragon blood essence? Today, I'll let you die under the bloodline of the 9 dragons. With that, the 9 dragon bloodline opened its mouth, and the devouring power enveloped De. Ever since his 9 dragon bloodline had fused with the 9 drops of 9 dragon blood essence, his devouring power had been enhanced many times. It was shockingly powerful. Enveloped by the devouring power, De's life essence, heart blood, and essence blood were quickly lost and devoured by the 9 dragons. De, even though he was the overlord of a generation and had a tough mind, he was ready to be killed. But in the face of such a situation, he still screamed in horror and struggled with all his might. However, in the million formation illustration, it was futile to struggle. A moment later, De's life essence was completely devoured and he turned into a dry corpse. In the Imperial Dragon City, countless people were looking at the sky with complicated expressions. De was also considered an overlord of his generation. He had planned for 10,000 years and had almost unified the divine wilderness continent. If not for the appearance of an unprecedented genius like Lu Ming, De would have succeeded and unified the divine wilderness. De was known as a hero of his generation. However, in the end, he died at the hands of Lu Ming. He had completely fallen. Let the alliance establishment ceremony continue. Lu Ming turned around, stepped down, and flew down the Imperial Dragon City. His voice spread throughout the city. The Alliance Master is invincible. Their shouts reverberated through the clouds. After this battle, Lu Ming's prestige had reached its peak. As for Yuanlu, only a small number of people knew about it. Most people did not even have the concept of Yuanlu. Chapter 1366. 1366 Chapter 1366 Heading to Western Desert. Following that, the alliance establishment ceremony proceeded smoothly. The experts took an oath to form an alliance and then divided the territories. After everything was over, it was time for the grand banquet. The banquet went on for a full day and night before the crowd slowly dispersed. In the northern part of the divine wilderness continent, above a boundless sea, space cracked open and a space-piercing shuttle appeared. Buzz! The space-breaking shuttle trembled and shrank, revealing 2 figures. They were Di Xian and the Esilavira-haired old man. The moment the Esilavira-haired old man appeared, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The battle with Lu Ming and the overnight journey had caused the Esilavira-haired elder to be severely injured. But Di Xian didn't even look at the Esilavira-haired old man. His eyes were cold and his face was ferocious. He looked to the south and roared, "That damned bastard! I'm going to tear that Lu Ming into 1,000 pieces." It was fine if he was in the Yuan continent, but in the divine wilderness continent, on this savage island, he actually suffered such a huge loss. Not only did he lose several emperor spiritual weapons, he even fled in defeat. This was a huge humiliation. He hated Lu Ming to the core. As for his dead subordinates, Di Xian didn't care at all. In his eyes, those people were just dispensable ants. In the Di family, such ants were too many to count. The Esilavira-haired old man's eyes revealed a trace of sadness, but it disappeared in a flash. "Young master, what should we do now?" the Esilavira-haired old man asked. "What else can we do? Of course, we're going back to the Yuan continent." Di Xian gritted his teeth. "Go back to the Yuan continent and find experts to take revenge?" the Esilavira-haired old man asked carefully. "Idiot, do you know how much it costs to transport some people from the Yuan continent to this remote and desolate island?" The clan has already made an exception for me to teleport once. When I return this time, the clan will definitely not let me teleport again in a short period of time. However, it won't be long. When I return and break through to the Martial Emperor realm, I will gain a certain status in the clan and come back again. 10 years, at most 10 years. I will destroy the entire Divine Wilderness continent with that kid. You're courting death. Di Xian roared ferociously. After a long while, he finally calmed down and flew toward White Feather Continent with the Esilavira-haired elder. Lu Ming's life had completely calmed down. Every day, other than his own cultivation, he would be teaching his 2 disciples. At times, he would also teach his parents, Hua Qi, and the others. As for his second body, other than cultivating, he would occasionally open a forum and preach. He had refined his second body, obtained a saint's inheritance, and broken through to the emperor level. His knowledge of the Tao of refinement was the best in the Divine Wilderness. Therefore, every time the second clone of inscription opened a forum to preach, people who cultivated the Tao of inscription would swarm over. Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and the others did not fall behind even once. There were even emperors who went to listen. Lu Ming did not keep anything to himself. He shared his cultivation experience with her. At the same time, Dragon Emperor City was also growing more and more prosperous. The entire Divine Wilderness continent, the entire Dragon Alliance, was full of life. They were developing and growing. Although, it could be said that the Divine Wilderness continent had the least emperors in history. Other than Western Desert, there were also a few people from Xia clan. The emperor of the entire Dragon Alliance was not even 20. However, given the current situation, it wouldn't take too long for the number of emperors to slowly increase. Now that the Dragon Alliance had unified the world, they had access to all kinds of resources and opened all kinds of cultivation holy lands to the public. The treatment that the top talents could enjoy was many times better than before. In the past, the various overlord forces had their own territories and their resources were extremely limited. But now, he could choose any resources he wanted. The cultivation speed of the young Heaven's Pride experts had increased greatly. The various emperors also shared their cultivation experiences with each other. He believed that this would increase his chances of breaking through to the Emperor realm in the future. A month after the establishment of the alliance, Yan Kuangtu successfully broke through and became an emperor. The Dragon Alliance now had another emperor. 2 months after the establishment of the alliance, Xiao Wan had finally taken a step forward with Lu Ming's help. His origin had been greatly restored, and his cultivation had finally recovered to the 3rd level of the martial royal realm. He had become the most powerful person in the Dragon Alliance after Lu Ming. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed since the founding ceremony. In the past 3 months, Lu Ming's cultivation level had steadily increased. The early stage of the domain was growing day by day. All sorts of martial arts techniques were also constantly improving. What was worth mentioning was that Lu Ming had fused 9 drops of 9 dragons' blood essence and absorbed the cultivation experience of the 9 dragons. He had finally cultivated the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps to the 9th step and achieved perfection. As for the pure spirit body, he had also cultivated it to 70%. Xian Yanqing was also cultivating hard. He was improving quickly and was only 1 step away from the Supreme Being level. However, Dandan and Bubbles were still in a deep sleep and had yet to wake up. At this time, there was less than a year left before the 2-year agreement to head to Dragon God Valley. What happened to Long Chen and the others back then? Why did Long Chen disappear and only Dark Child, the Heartless Monk and the other 2 returned? Now that Dark Child is dead, only the Heartless Monk and Moonless know. It seems that it's time to make a trip to the Western Desert. In the Alliance Master's residence in the Imperial Dragon City, Lu Ming was drinking tea in a pavilion in the courtyard, his thoughts flying. He decided to find out where Long Chen was. Long Chen was a good person and could be considered a friend of Lu Ming's. Back in the Divine Ruins continent, Lu Ming was also the one who implicated him. If Long Chen were to be harmed because of Lu Ming would not be at ease. At the thought of this, Lu Ming took a step forward and disappeared. The Western Desert had always been the domain of the Buddhist sect. Almost everyone in Western Desert believed in Buddha. Furthermore, the Western Desert had always been mysterious. It had never participated in the Divine Wilderness continent's conflicts and stayed out of it. But no one dared to underestimate Western Desert. There was once an emperor of an overlord force that led an army to attack Western Desert, but in the end, he never returned, not causing any commotion. Even this time, when the Divine Wilderness continent entered a rare state of chaos, Western Desert remained uninvolved. Buzz! At the Western Desert border, Lu Ming's figure appeared. Looking into the distance, Lu Ming's figure was like a rainbow as he flew towards the depths of the Western Desert. In the vast territory of Western Desert, there were countless temples and ancient temples. Lu Ming's target this time was the most ancient and oldest temple in the Western Desert, the Bodhi Temple. It was said that the unscrupulous monk and the moonless female bodhisattva were both from the Bodhi Temple and were cultivating in seclusion in the temple. Lu Ming's speed was so fast that it did not take long for him to cross more than half of the Western Desert. So many experts. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Along the way, Lu Ming discovered many powerful auras. Lu Ming discovered no less than 20 Supreme Being auras. He even discovered 2 Emperor auras. Lu Ming was flying in a straight line and he had already discovered so many experts. It was unbelievable. Sometimes, there would be a supreme martial artist in a small, dilapidated temple. It was truly astonishing. It was said that Western Desert was second only to Central Continent in the 5 territories. It seemed that the rumors were true. Not long after, a temple on a majestic mountain appeared before Lu Ming's eyes. They had arrived at the Bodhi Temple. Chapter 1367. 1367 Long Chen's whereabouts. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, a Buddhist light appeared in front of him. A burly monk who was 3 meters tall appeared in front of him. Halt, this is the holy land of Buddhism. The burly monk was like a Buddhist Vajra. He stretched out his hand and blocked Lu Ming. Master, I'm Lu Ming. I would like to pay a visit to your sect's heartless master and the moonless female bodhisattva. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said politely. Lu Ming. You're the leader of the Dragon Alliance. The burly monk's pupils shrank and a look of surprise flashed through his eyes. I'm currently under you. Lu Ming said. So it's Alliance Master Lu, but recently, Wu Yang and Wu Yu are both in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid it's not convenient to meet them. The tall and sturdy monk said. Still in seclusion. Lu Ming frowned. Master, can you pass on the message? Lu Ming only wants to ask a few questions. I'll leave after I'm done. Alliance Master Lu, I've said that Wu Yang and Wu Yu are in seclusion. I'm afraid it's difficult for them to meet. The burly monk was very domineering. Lu Ming's face darkened slightly. It was just a meeting. Furthermore, with Lu Ming's current status, he could be said to be the overlord of the Divine Wilderness. However, the other party still wanted to stop him. There must be something fishy behind this. Lu Ming was considering whether he should force his way in. Although the burly monk was at the first-level martial emperor realm, he could not stop Lu Ming. Kong Jian, let Alliance Master Lu in. At this moment, an old voice came from Bodhi Temple. Then, Buddhist light filled the air and a kind-looking old monk appeared beside the burly monk. A halo of Buddhist light appeared above the old monk's head. The powerful aura made Lu Ming's pupils contract. Third-level martial emperor realm. This old monk's cultivation was at the 3rd level of the martial royal realm. Lu Ming's heart was in turmoil. In the Divine Wilderness continent, there were still 3rd-level martial royal realm experts other than Xiao Wan. The Western Desert really shocked Lu Ming. If such an expert were to participate in the fight for hegemony in the divine wilderness continent, what would De have to do? Kong Jian greets Abbot Kong Hai. The tall and sturdy monk greeted the old monk. It turned out that this person was the abbot of Bodhi Temple. Ba. I am Kong Hai. Greetings, Alliance Master Lu. Master Kong Hai said, paying his respects to Buddha. You're welcome, Master. Lu Ming greets you. Lu Ming returned the greeting. Alliance Master Lu, please come in. I already knew that Alliance Master Lu would come this morning. I have already informed Wu Yang and Wu Yu to come out and see you. Master Kong Hai said. Oh. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. Without saying anything, he, Kong Hai, and Kong Jian entered Bodhi Temple. They sat down in an elegant courtyard and waited. I have no hair. Lu Ming, long time no see. I knew you wouldn't die. Not long after, he heard a nondescript Buddhist chant. The monk and the moonless female bodhisattva walked over. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. At this moment, Kong Hai and Kong Jian had left, leaving Lu Ming and the rest to chat. Heartless, what happened in the Divine Ruins continent back then? The people from the South God Palace came to the Divine Wilderness continent and said that I was killed by a Heaven's Pride expert of the deity sect because I offended him. Why didn't any of you say anything? Lu Ming went straight to the point and asked the question in his heart. Hey, Lu Ming, you can't blame me. The unscrupulous monk cried out in injustice. Back then, the ones who sent us back were experts from the great family, the Wang family, of the South God Palace. When the Wang family experts arrived in the Divine Wilderness continent, they ordered us not to speak nonsense. As you know, the South God Palace is extremely powerful. They even have a lever 4 martial royal realm expert. I don't dare to disobey them. Moreover, that old monk Kong Hai is also a timid person. So, he asked us to cultivate in seclusion and not pay attention to the outside world. The unscrupulous monk had an exaggerated expression on his face. This guy called Abbot Kong Hai as Old Monk Kong Hai. What a weirdo. Ba. On the side, the moonless female bodhisattva chanted the name of Buddha and pretended not to hear it. Also, Lu Ming, were you being hunted down in the South God Palace? At that time, I really thought you were dead. The monk continued. Oh. I can't be bothered to pursue this matter, but what about Long Chen? Didn't he come back with you? Where is he? Lu Ming asked. Sigh, Long Chen is probably dead too. He was taken away by the Wang family. The monk sighed. The Wang clan. Do you know why they took Long Chen away? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. I don't know. The monk shook his head. Lu Ming's brows were tightly knitted together. Could it be that he had offended the Wang family's prodigy, Wang Zhen, and that was why the Wang family had taken their anger out on Long Chen? Alright, Lu Ming. That's all I know. You came at the right time. If you were a few days later, you wouldn't have seen us. The monk said. Oh. You're leaving? Lu Ming asked curiously. That's right. In a few days, Moonless and I will go to the Yuan continent and join a Buddhist sect there. Ha, I'm indeed the darling of the heavens, the reincarnation of a Buddhist emperor. Lu Ming, I'll catch up with you soon. The unscrupulous monk laughed triumphantly. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It seemed that the waters of the western desert ran deep. They could actually contact the Buddhist sects in the Yuanlu. Then we'll meet in the Yuan continent. Lu Ming said. After that, Lu Ming took his leave. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, another month had passed. Over the past few days, Lu Ming had received news that an unknown expert had appeared on the shores of the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming frowned and ordered the guards to be on high alert. On the shore of the Divine Wilderness continent's eastern wilderness, a figure suddenly appeared. A terrifying aura emanated from his body, like the aura of an emperor. We've finally arrived at the divine wilderness continent. That Lu Ming should be there. This figure was wearing a green robe and had narrow and sharp eyes. At this moment, there was a hint of greed in his eyes. With a shake of his body, he flew into the depths of the East Continent. Soon, he arrived outside Nine Dragons. What a majestic city. There's an emperor here. I can ask around about Lu Ming's whereabouts. The green-robed man sneered and rushed into Nine Dragons. He appeared in the depths of Nine Dragons, exuding a vast aura that pressed down on Nine Dragons. What's going on? It's so strong. Emperor, that's the emperor. Which emperor from the Dragon Alliance has descended? In Nine Dragons, many people were suppressed by this aura and almost knelt down. Some of the weaker ones even vomited blood. Who is it? A loud shout came from the depths of Nine Dragons, and a burly man rushed out. This burly man was Chu Luo, who had been ordered to guard Nine Dragons. When Chu Luo saw the green-robed man, his eyes narrowed. Because he didn't know the other party. Now, the divine wilderness continent's emperors, with the exception of those from the western desert, had all joined the Dragon Alliance. Chu Luo was familiar with every one of them, but he did not know this person. Clearly, he was not the divine wilderness continent's emperor and had come from overseas. Hee, you're finally out. Let me ask you a question. You'd better answer honestly. Otherwise, you'll suffer. The green-robed man chuckled. What do you want to ask? Chu Luo said. Have you ever heard of Lu Ming? The green-robed man said. Chapter 1368. 1368 The Emperor of the Outer Continent descends. Alliance Master. What business do you have with the Alliance Master? Chu Luo was stunned and asked. Alliance Master. It seems that Lu Ming's status here is not low. Tell me, where is Lu Ming now? The green-robed man said. Why are you looking for the Alliance Master? Chu Luo said cautiously. Nonsense, I told you to speak and you just said it. You really have a lot of nonsense. The green-robed man shouted impatiently. A powerful aura rose from his body and pressed down on Chu Luo. Luo's body trembled and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. His face changed dramatically and he exclaimed, Second-level Martial Emperor Realm. This green-robed man was actually a Level 2 Martial Royal Realm expert. Why are you looking for the Alliance Master? Otherwise, don't expect me to tell you. Luo roared. Still not speaking, you're really looking for death. The green-robed man's eyes turned cold as he struck out with his palm. Chu Luo's figure retreated rapidly, and he put up layers of defense in front of him. Bang bang bang. However, Chu Luo's defense was shattered by the green-robed man's palm. Chu Luo spat out a large mouthful of blood and his body flew out like a cannonball. Let's go. Without any hesitation, Luo turned around and ran. Do you think that I won't know if you run away? Die. The green-robed man shouted coldly and did not pursue. He appeared under Nine Dragons and grabbed the head of a spiritual god realm master. Green mist then shrouded the man. Ah! The spiritual god realm master let out a shrill scream, and the people nearby trembled in fear. Speak. Where is Lu Ming? The green-robed man asked coldly. Alliance head, it's in Dragon Emperor City, Dragon Emperor City. That person shouted. Dragon Emperor City? Give me the map. The green-robed man shouted coldly. The man did not dare to disobey. He took out a map from his storage ring and handed it to the green-robed man. The green-robed man flung the spiritual god realm master away and opened the map. He sneered, Lu Ming, I've finally found you. It's no wonder that I rushed over from the green-rich continent. A cold light flashed in the green-robed man's eyes. He took a step forward and walked towards the Imperial Dragon City. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely know that the Lufeng continent was a continent in the southern part of the Divine Ruins continent cluster. It was adjacent to the Divine Wilderness continent. As soon as the green-robed man left, the spiritual god realm master caught by the green-robed man gasped for breath and broke out in a cold sweat. Just when he thought he had escaped, a cloud of green mist suddenly emerged from his body and enveloped him. A shrill scream sounded again. After a while, when the mist dispersed, the spiritual god realm master was only left with a skeleton. Hiss hiss hiss. The people nearby all gasped. A similar scene appeared in southern Nether and northern plains. The emperors of both places were attacked. In the Imperial Dragon City, Lu Ming had also received the news. An expert who fought to a draw with the continent has appeared in the southern underworld. Lu Ming frowned. All sides were attacked. The ones who appeared were all emperors with profound cultivation. Even the weakest one was a level 2 martial royal realm expert. Only Nanming was able to confirm that he was the emperor who had fought evenly with the continent. A draw with the continent? Then, based on the information, it's highly possible that they came from several different continents. Strange. Lu Ming frowned. They came from different continents and suddenly came to the Divine Wilderness continent. Furthermore, all of them had the same goal, to find him, Lu Ming. Lu Ming was filled with doubts. Why did these experts from different continents come to the Divine Wilderness continent to find him at the same time? What? At this moment, Lu Ming received another message. Someone is attacking Northern Plains, Demon God Valley. The Demon God Valley was the place where Xiao Wan was in charge. Xiao Wan showed his power and severely injured his opponent. Then, he took that man to the Imperial Dragon City through the interterritory teleportation formation. Lu Ming was overjoyed. It was a good time to interrogate him. Lu Ming took a step forward and tore open the space. The next moment, he appeared at the border teleportation formation and saw Xiao Wan. There was also a skinny old man, his aura was weak and his face was pale. He lay on the ground with a face full of shock. I'm from the White Feather Continent. You'd better let me go. Otherwise, you'll all die without a burial place. The skinny old man roared, threatening Xiaoluan. The old man was at the second level of the martial royal realm, but he was no match for Xiaoluan. Bang! Lu Ming arrived and landed a footprint on the old man's face, causing the old man's face to come into close contact with the ground. Nonsense! Speak, why did you come to the Divine Wilderness continent to find me? Lu Ming asked coldly. You are Lu Ming. The skinny old man's eyes lit up and he stared at Lu Ming with a greedy look. Speak. Lu Ming exerted force on his feet. The old man struggled madly. However, his cultivation was sealed and it was useless to struggle. Lu Ming, you'd better hand over the primordial chaos token and let me go. Otherwise, not only will you die, the entire Divine Wilderness continent will be buried with you. The skinny old man roared. Mixed Essence Token. You're here for the Mixed Essence Token. Tell me, what happened? Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming had not expected that these people would come for the Primordial Chaos Token. He was even more curious. Quickly let me go. The skinny old man shouted. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming stomped on the skinny old man's legs twice. The skinny old man's legs exploded and turned into dust. The skinny old man gasped, and his eyes almost popped out. He then let out a heart-wrenching scream. To an emperor, having his legs burst was nothing. With the exuberant vitality of a spirit body, he could recover very quickly. However, that heart-piercing pain was real. Tell me the truth. Tell me the ins and outs of the matter. Otherwise, the next kick will be your dantian. Lu Ming said coldly. The skinny old man's heart tightened. If Lu Ming stepped on his dantian, his spiritual god would be in danger. In the end, the skinny old man helplessly told him everything he knew. It turned out that a few months ago, a piece of shocking news had spread from the Divine Ruins continent. It was said that the South God Palace had captured a Heaven's favorite who had a primordial chaos token. With the token, one could freely enter and exit the Divine Ruins and obtain the treasures inside. The news caused a huge commotion. Later on, there was more news that the paragon with the primordial chaos token came from the Divine Wilderness continent. And there was another person in the Divine Wilderness continent who also had a primordial chaos token. His name was Lu Ming. The entire news spread like a whirlwind across the Divine Ruins continent, even to other continents. The Divine Ruins were too mysterious. Inside, it contained boundless treasures. There were a few Divine Ruins in the Divine Ruins continent, but it was very dangerous inside, especially the core. Even emperors would die if they went in. But now, by using the mixed element token, one could actually enter the Divine Ruins freely and obtain the treasures inside. This caused the continent group of the Divine Ruins to go into a frenzy. Since one piece was in the hands of the South God Palace, the others could only go and snatch the other piece, the one in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming finally understood why the sovereigns of the various continents would travel such a long distance to the Divine Wilderness continent. Their goal was the mixed energy token he had. Chapter 1369. 1369 Chapter 1369 Come to get the primordial chaos token. Lu Ming speculated that the genius controlled by the South God Palace was Long Chen. First, Long Chen was already in the Wang family's hands, and he happened to have the primordial chaos token. Second, a mixed essence token was not that easy to obtain. Lu Ming estimated that in the entire continent group of the Divine Ruins, only he and Long Chen had the primordial chaos token. Previously, he had learned from 2E of the Primal Chaos Hall that the primordial chaos token was based on one's potential. In the Battle of Providence, some people's cultivation might far exceed Lu Ming's cultivation in the Battle of Providence. However, they might not be able to obtain the mixed energy token. Only those who were determined to have great potential could possibly obtain a mixed energy token. Based on these 2 points, Lu Ming speculated that the prodigy was 100% Long Chen. The Wang family, through some means such as soul searching, had found out from Long Chen that Lu Ming also had a mixed essence token. However, there was one thing that Lu Ming could not figure out. For example, if the Wang family or the other experts of the South God Palace had secretly found out from Long Chen that Lu Ming also had a primordial chaos token, shouldn't they have secretly sent experts to capture Lu Ming? How did he spread the news and let all the continents in the continent group of the Divine Ruins know about it? This did not make sense. Boom! At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly came down from the sky. The Imperial Dragon City was enveloped by a powerful pressure. Boom! Boom! Soon after this stress rose up, more stress broke out and suffused the sky above Dragon Emperor City. At this moment, everyone in Dragon Emperor City felt being crushed by Mount Tai and facing a great catastrophe. Lu Ming, get out here! Lu Ming, come out! Several roars were as loud as thunderclaps. The sky above the Imperial Dragon City was rumbling, which shook many people's eardrums and almost made them vomit blood. Good! Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He took a step forward and landed on the skinny elder's dantian. Boom! The violent power pierced through the skinny elder's dantian and shattered his spiritual soul. The old man's eyes popped out and he roared, You didn't keep your word. Lu Ming sneered, I didn't say that I won't kill you. Also, you came to the Divine Wilderness continent to take my primordial chaos token. Do you think I won't kill you? You're really naive. With a burst of power, the skinny old man was torn into pieces. Then, Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared in the sky. Buzz! Whoosh! The sound of air being torn rang out and 5 figures appeared beside Lu Ming. Besides Xiao Wan, there were 4 other emperors. Other than Lu Ming, the Imperial Dragon City was usually guarded by 4 other sovereigns. As soon as Lu Ming appeared in the sky, he saw a few figures standing around the Imperial Dragon City. "I am Lu Ming." Lu Ming's voice could be heard from afar. Buzz! Buzz! In a flash, the figures around the Imperial Dragon City appeared around Lu Ming and the others, surrounding them in the middle. "Lu Ming, I'm the Divine Sky Emperor of the Zhuaning continent. Hand over your mixed essence token." A burly man with golden hair glared at Lu Ming with an overbearing aura. "The mixed energy token is mine. I am the Snow Moon Emperor of the fluttering snow continent." A beautiful woman in white was staring at Lu Ming with cold eyes. Both of them were at the peak of the 2nd-level martial royal realm and were extremely powerful. Those who dared to cross the vast distance to the Divine Wilderness continent to participate in this contest were all top experts from their respective continents. Even the weakest of them was at the 2nd level of the martial royal realm. Even the 1st-level martial royal realm experts did not dare to come. He knew that even if he obtained the token, he wouldn't be able to enjoy it. Fluttering Snow Continent, Zhuaning Continent, get lost. A burly man in battle armor shouted coldly. His aura was extremely shocking. He was actually a level 3 martial royal realm expert. A draw with the continent. The Snow Moon Emperor and the Holy Sky Emperor both had grave expressions. This 3rd-level martial royal realm expert was from Pingdong continent. Even with the continents, they were all in the top 10 of the Divine Ruins continent group and were very powerful. Other than these 3, there were another 3 people who were at the level 2 martial royal realm. One of them was the green-robed elder. He surrounded Lu Ming and the others, eyeing them like a tiger watching its prey. "Lu Ming, hand over your primordial chaos token and I'll spare your life." The emperor, who had fought evenly with the continent, looked at Lu Ming coldly. "Hee, you're here to take the mixed essence token, but it seems you don't know anything about it. The mixed essence token was obtained in the Battle of Providence and has long been integrated with me. Even if you take it, you can't use it." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "You can't use it? That's simple. As long as I cripple you and bring you along, I can similarly enter the Divine Ruins and obtain the treasures inside." The Emperor of the continent laughed sinisterly. "Oh, really? You're so confident, but have you ever thought that you'll lose your lives here?" Lu Ming remained calm, but behind his calmness, a cold killing intent was slowly gathering. "Ha ha ha, throw your life here. In the Divine Wilderness continent, what experts can they have that can do anything to me?" The experts who fought to a draw with the continent laughed loudly, looking down on everyone. "Oh. Since that's the case, then die." Lu Ming shouted loudly and suddenly launched an attack. With the chaotic will lingering around him, he wielded the dragon vein sword and slashed at the emperor who had fought evenly with the continent. The terrifying power caused the emperor, who was fighting evenly with the continent, to change his expression. "Block it." After fighting evenly with the emperor of the continent, a halberd appeared in his hand. He let out a breath and slashed down with all his might. As a level 3 martial royal realm expert, he could kill an ordinary level 2 martial royal realm expert with a full-force attack. However, when Lu Ming's dragon vein sword hit his halberd, it shook violently and exploded with a bang. The emperor's body trembled violently after fighting evenly with him. Blood spurted from his mouth as he retreated. "How is that possible?" The emperor of the continent roared in disbelief. He was a 3rd-grade martial emperor, while Lu Ming was merely a supreme. Although it was indeed unbelievable that he could reach the supreme being realm at such a young age, a supreme being was still just a supreme being after all. How could his combat strength be so powerful that he could injure him so severely with one move? "Kill!" Lu Ming stepped forward. His combat sword cut through the void and slashed at the emperor who was evenly matched with the continent. The emperor of the continent wanted to dodge, but he suddenly found that dozens of formations had appeared around him. They were all formations to trap the enemy and had him trapped. The dragon vein sword slashed and cut the emperor of the continent in half. This. On the side, the Holy Sky Emperor, the Fluttering Snow Emperor, and the others were dumbfounded. They were completely stunned, and their eyes were wide open. All of this happened too quickly. Lu Ming had just made his move, and within 2 moves, a 3rd-level martial emperor expert, an expert that they were so afraid of, was killed. He thought he was dreaming. Kill! Lu Ming's sword swept across and a 2nd-level martial royal realm expert was killed. Run, run! The others were terrified and frantically fled in all directions. Kill! Xiao Wan made his move. With a roar, he unsheathed his demonic blade and cut a lever 2 martial royal realm expert into 2. As for Lu Ming, he took a step forward and appeared behind the fluttering snow divine warrior, slashing down with his combat sword. The drifting snow sovereign desperately tried to block, but it was of no use. The battle sword slashed down, breaking everything. The drifting snow emperor was dead. Chapter 1370. 1370 Chapter 1370 Almost everyone is here. The 5 sovereigns, including a lever 3 martial royal realm expert, were all killed in an instant, leaving only the Holy Sky Sovereign. The Holy Sky Emperor felt a chill from head to toe. Originally, in his opinion, even if there were strong people in the divine wilderness, the 2nd level of the martial royal realm was the highest. With his cultivation at the peak of the 2nd level of the martial royal realm, it was enough to dominate the divine wilderness. But now, he realized that the divine wilderness continent was a dragon's pool and a tiger's denver. It was a hell. Spare me. The Holy Sky Emperor begged for mercy. I've said it before. Since you've come to take my primordial chaos token, you should be prepared to be killed. Do you really think that the divine wilderness continent is your back garden? Do you think that I, Lu Ming, can be toyed with by you as you please? Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. He appeared behind the Holy Sky Emperor and slashed his dragon vein sword mercilessly. The Holy Sky Emperor remorsefully tried to resist, but the result was difficult to change. The Holy Sky Emperor was defeated and killed in the air. The 5 sovereigns who had come to attack had all died. Lu Ming, send out the order to gather all the sovereigns to guard the Imperial Dragon City. I'm afraid that there will be more powerful people coming. Xiao Wan suggested. No. Lu Ming waved his hand and said, if we defend passively, there will be no end to it. Now, we need to take the initiative and beat them until they are afraid. Spread the news to every corner of the divine wilderness continent. Do not put up any resistance against the experts from the other continents. Tell them directly that I, Lu Ming, am at Emperor Fall Mountain. You're going to be in Emperor Fall Mountain? Xiao Wan asked, raising an eyebrow. That's right, Emperor Fall Mountain, kill the emperors. Lu Ming said. Do you need our help? Xiao Wan said. He could not help but secretly admire Lu Ming's decisiveness. No need. Thank you, Senior, you're in charge of Dragon Emperor City. Lu Ming said. Then, he took a step forward and headed for the Fallen Emperor Mountain. Emperor Falling Mountain was only 600,000 miles away from Dragon Emperor City. It was a huge peak that reached into the sky. It was said that in the distant past, an emperor had fallen here, so it was called Emperor Fall Mountain. After a while, Lu Ming appeared at the peak of the Fallen Emperor Mountain. He sat cross-legged and waited quietly. The Dragon Imperial City had also spread the news to every corner of the Divine Wilderness continent, saying that Lu Ming was at the Emperor Fall Mountain. As time passed, more and more powerful cultivators from other continents arrived in the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming is at the Fallen Emperor Mountain. Let's go to Emperor Fall Mountain. I want to be one step ahead and get the Primordial Chaos token. One figure after another headed towards Emperor Fall Mountain. At the edge of northern plains, the sky rumbled, a huge ship crossing the sea appeared on the coastline. Buzz! 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 3 figures appeared in the ship, each of them exuding vast and powerful auras. 2 of the 3 figures were at the peak of the second-level martial royal realm. The one in the middle was even more terrifying, having reached the peak of the third-level martial royal realm. This person had long green hair and looked to be in his 40s. In the distance, a beam of light flashed and a middle-aged man appeared in front of the 3 of them. He bowed to the green-haired middle-aged man in the middle and said, "Second Master, I've found out that Lu Ming is in seclusion at the Fallen Emperor Mountain." "Oh. I got it." The blue-haired middle-aged man nodded and sneered. This Lu Ming is really audacious. He even dares to kill the young master of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. This time, my big brother sent me here to kill Lu Ming first to avenge my 2 nephews and to take the mixed energy token. This subordinate will definitely do his best. The others on the side quickly said. "Alright, let's go." The green-haired middle-aged man was the first to step forward. In the Fallen Emperor Mountain, Lu Ming sat cross-legged, casually scanning his surroundings. 7 or 8 experts had already appeared around the Fallen Emperor Mountain. They were all powerhouses from different continents, and each of them was a Level 2 Martial Royal Realm powerhouse. This power was extremely shocking. However, these people did not make a move. It was not because they were worried about Lu Ming, but because they were worried about each other and were in a stalemate. The mixed essence token is mine. I was the first to arrive. What a joke. You came first, so it's yours. That's bullshit. Could it be that you all want to fight me to a draw against the continent? One voice after another rang out as the auras of the powerful sovereigns burst forth. They stood in the air and faced each other, not giving in. 2 more experts had arrived after the draw with the continent. One of them was at the 3rd-level Martial Royal Realm, while the other was at the peak of the 2nd-level Martial Royal Realm. As expected of one of the top 10 continents in the continent group of the Divine Ruins, it was very powerful. All the experts were in a confrontation. They were all wary of each other, and no one made a move. A faint smile appeared at the corners of Lu Ming's mouth. He did not try to break the balance. Now was not the time to make a move. It would not be too late to make a move when there were more people. As time passed, more and more emperors came. Behind them, there were 16 more. Even the White Feather continent, which was ranked 4th in the continent group of the Divine Ruins, had sent a few. Buzz! 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 Suddenly, 4 figures flew over from the distance. The one in the lead was the green-haired middle-aged man. "I'm working in the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion of the South God Palace of the Divine Ruins continent. All unrelated people, please leave." A person beside the green-haired middle-aged man shouted. The other people's expressions changed. What? Even the people from the South God Palace are here. Doesn't the South God Palace have a primordial chaos token? Why are they still inviolate? The others spoke up one after another, their expressions grave. The Divine Ruins continent was too powerful, far stronger than the other continents. However, it was impossible for them to give up just like that. Sea-suppressing Marshal's mansion, don't try to oppress us with your power. We have so many people here, so we're not afraid of you. That's right. If it was the sea-suppressing commander-in-chief, we might be a bit afraid. But you want us to retreat? Impossible. The others chimed in. The people who had appeared here were all peak experts from the various continents. Although the green-haired middle-aged man had a strong cultivation, he was only at the peak of the Level 3 Martial Royal Realm. He could not scare these experts. Humph, you really don't know what's good for you. Do you want to go against the sea-suppressing Marshal's mansion and the South God Palace? The azure-haired middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a cold light as he coldly rebuked. But the others sneered, and none of them retreated. Most of the experts from the southern continent of the Divine Ruins had gathered here. With so many experts gathered, why would they be afraid of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion? At most, he could hide after getting the mixed essence token. What could the experts of the South God Palace do? The green-haired middle-aged man's face darkened. Everyone present was an expert. There were no less than 5 third-level Martial Royal Realm experts. Although none of them were at the peak of the third-level Martial Royal Realm, he was still afraid of the joint attack of so many experts. We're finally almost there. At this moment, on the fallen Emperor Mountain, Lu Ming spoke indifferently. Many of the sovereigns looked at Lu Ming in unison. Lu Ming, how dare you kill the people of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion? Hand over the mixed element token now and come with me to the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion to accept your punishment. The green-haired middle-aged man shouted. Hi Tian, hi you, those 2 pieces of trash. It's fine if you kill them. If you want revenge, then do it. Lu Ming said calmly. Chapter 1371. 1371 Chapter 1371 Thunderbolt Kill. You're looking for death. The green-haired middle-aged man shouted coldly, his face gloomy. Everyone, as you can see, Lu Ming has a grudge against the Sea Conqueror's mansion. My brother's 2 sons died in his hands. Lu Ming is the Sea Conqueror's mansion's enemy. The green-haired middle-aged man's gaze swept across the entire place. He was more concerned about the powerhouses from the other continents. As for Lu Ming, he did not take him to heart at all. I have no objections if you want Lu Ming. Just leave the primordial chaos token behind. That's right. Take him away, but leave the primordial chaos token. The other emperors spoke. Humph. The azure-haired man snorted. He had to kill Lu Ming, but his main goal was still the primordial chaos token. Are you done with your nonsense? Lu Ming stood up, a cold, knife-like killing intent slowly rising from his body. Do you know why this place is called the Fallen Emperor Mountain? Everyone cast their gaze on Lu Ming again. That's because an emperor has fallen here. That's why I chose this place to be your burial ground. Lu Ming's cold voice spread in all directions. What? You're so arrogant. You still want to kill us? What a joke. Don't make a move, let me kill him first. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, the other sovereigns were furious. Kill. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly roared and launched an attack. He soared into the sky and charged at several second-level martial emperors. Roar roar roar. A dragon's roar was heard as 9 streams of dragon energy burst forth. At the same time, the third bloodline emerged. A surge of energy surged into Lu Ming's body, and then the chaos domain spread all over his body. Buzz! The dragon vein sword slashed out. At this moment, Lu Ming had almost used all his strength. No one had expected that Lu Ming would dare to attack when he was surrounded by more than 20 sovereigns. Moreover, these 20 sovereigns were all above the 2nd level of the Martial Royal Realm. What a terrifying force this was. Therefore, when Lu Ming made his move, they were stunned. The dragon vein sword swept across and the 3 second-level Martial Royal Realm experts were cut in half at the waist. The sword chi burst forth and crushed their spiritual gods into pieces. 3 people were killed in an instant. As Lu Ming drew his sword, the space between his eyebrows glowed. He stepped forward and waved his hand. 5 phoenix-feathered flying swords shot out rapidly, and the cries of phoenixes shook the sky. 5 shrill screams were heard as the phoenix-feathered flying sword pierced through the dantian of 5 2 Martial Royal Realm experts, crushing their spiritual gods. Lu Ming launched an attack. The main body and the second body attacked at the same time, killing 8 experts in an instant. At this time, the others finally reacted. Damn it, you dare to launch a surprise attack. How can he be so strong? Attack and crush him. Angry roars were heard and some people felt chills all over their bodies. If Lu Ming had attacked them just now, what would have happened? Instantly, attacks were launched at the main body and the second body. Buzz! Lu Ming took the lead and moved slightly. Like a fleeting shadow, he disappeared from his original spot. Then, a second-level martial emperor was split in half by Lu Ming. The wind-frozen bead, combined with the wind elemental technique, is indeed extremely fast. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Lu Ming controlled the air-frozen bead and a green energy appeared around his body. Then, he cast the wind element spell. Lu Ming's speed was so fast that even an emperor would find it difficult to catch up with him. Then, he took a step forward and the void was filled with formations. He used the formations to dodge the attacks. At the same time, he controlled the 5 phoenix-feathered flying swords and killed another level 2 martial royal realm expert. With a wave of his hand, the million formation illustration appeared. Countless great formations emerged and attacked the emperors. The 10,000 formation illustration was most suitable for group battles. The countless formations, be it offensive, defensive, or trapping, threw the sovereigns into confusion. With his current strength, even a level 3 martial royal realm expert would be afraid of him if he used the all-formation picture. Whoosh! 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 Lu Ming's main body cast the wind elemental technique and his figure flashed rapidly. Blood splattered everywhere as experts were killed one after another. Second Master, save me! A level 2 martial royal realm expert from the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion shouted. However, the green-haired middle-aged man was being attacked by the second body. Countless great formations poured down on him. Of the 5 phoenix feather flying swords, 3 of them were constantly stabbing toward him. He could only barely protect himself, so how could he have the energy to save others? The experts of the sea-suppressing marshal's residence were easily killed by Lu Ming. With Lu Ming's current combat strength and the cooperation between his main body and his secondary body, killing a second-level martial emperor was as easy as cutting vegetables. Furthermore, most of these people didn't have an emperor's spiritual weapon. In the blink of an eye, there were only 5 martial emperors left out of the 20. 5 level 3 martial royal realm experts. The other second-level martial royal realm experts were all killed. Retreat, retreat. This person is a demon. He's a Shura, a demon. A few level 3 martial royal realm experts shouted. They were simply scared out of their wits. Lu Ming was unbelievably powerful. There were more than 20 of them. If they were to join forces, even a level 4 martial royal realm expert would have to retreat. However, they were almost completely massacred by Lu Ming. This did not mean that Lu Ming's strength was stronger than a 4th-level martial emperor. It was because the coordination between Lu Ming's main body and his secondary body was too seamless, especially for group battles. It was simply not suitable. The second body could activate the 10,000 formation picture, trapping, disturbing, and attacking enemies, all of which were large-scale attacks. No matter how many enemies there were, they could still be trapped. Moreover, the second body itself had a strong attack power. Coupled with the main body's cooperation in the attack, the opponent's advantage in numbers was not even fully displayed before they were beaten up by Lu Ming with a thunderous momentum. Buzz! At this moment, Lu Ming performed the blood fusion and turned into the prison-suppressing steel, suppressing a 3rd-level martial royal realm expert. Bang! The level 3 martial royal realm expert spat out a mouthful of blood and half of his body exploded. After that, the dragon vein sword slashed out and that person was killed. Then, the prison-suppressing steel pressed down again. The others wanted to escape, but what they were faced with was an endless grand formation. If they wanted to break the grand formation, they would have to spend some time, but this little time would be fatal. Boom! The prison-suppressing steel was like a death-pressing steel. It was covered with the early stage of the chaotic domain. An ordinary 3rd-level martial royal realm expert could not withstand it at all. If they were hit, they would either die or be injured. damn it, I wanted to escape. Seeing that the other experts were killed by Lu Ming one after another, the green-haired middle-aged man panicked and attacked frantically. However, the second body was staring at him closely, so how could he escape? Whoosh! A formation appeared on the second body, and a beam of sword chi shot out from the tip of his finger. It almost pierced through the middle of the green-haired middle-aged man's brows, causing him to break out in cold sweat. Miserable screams rang out continuously before everything quieted down. The other third-level martial royal realm experts were all killed by Lu Ming. The green-haired middle-aged man was the only one left at the scene. Chapter 1372. 1372 Lu Ming's Plan. The green-haired middle-aged man's heart turned cold from head to toe. Never in his dreams would he have thought that such a situation would occur when he was only here to kill a young junior. Now, it's your turn. Go down and accompany your two nephews. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard as the prison-suppressing steel flew towards the green-haired middle-aged man. Lu Ming, I am the second brother of the sea-suppressing marshal. If you dare to kill me, the entire divine wilderness continent will be buried with you. The azure-haired man roared threateningly. I've already killed Hai Tian and Hai Yu. You're not one of them. Lu Ming sneered. You. Let me tell you, I'm not only a member of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion, I'm also an elder of the South God Palace. If you kill me, you'll be going against the South God Palace. The green-haired middle-aged man continued to shout. Seeing that the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion was not going well, he moved out of the South God Palace. South God Palace? I will make a trip there sooner or later. Lu Ming's voice was still as cold as a knife. You. The green-haired middle-aged man was already panicking. Lu Ming was not threatened at all. He was extremely bold. He had never met such a person. He was at a loss. Whoosh! In his panic, a phoenix feather flying sword flew past his neck, leaving a bloody mark and almost chopping his head off. The green-haired middle-aged man shivered. Lu Ming, I beg you to spare me. As long as you let me go, I'll definitely plead for you in front of Big Brother when I return. I'll beg him to let you off. The green-haired middle-aged man started to beg for mercy when he saw that threats didn't work. Laughable. Lu Ming sneered. Let me go, I beg you. As long as you let me go, I'll just be your slave. The green-haired middle-aged man became more and more afraid. In the end, he didn't care about his face anymore and begged bitterly. He didn't look like a high and mighty emperor at all. Emperors were also humans. They were just people who had great power. They also had 7 emotions and 6 desires, and they were also afraid of death. Emperors, in particular, were more afraid of death than ordinary people. They had great power and could destroy the world. They had long lifespans and could live freely in the world. What kind of enjoyment was that? Therefore, they were even more afraid of death. Clearly, the green-haired middle-aged man was such a person. When he was stronger than others, he was high and mighty, looking down on others as if they were ants. But once he faced the threat of death, he often acted worse than ordinary people. Kill. Lu Ming was unmoved. He said coldly and pressed the prison-suppressing steel down. At the same time, he attacked with his second body. The result was already without any suspense. Although the green-haired middle-aged man's cultivation had reached the peak of the third-level martial royal realm, how could he be a match for Lu Ming's main body and second body when they joined forces? Not long after, the green-haired middle-aged man was killed by Lu Ming, unwilling to accept the outcome. At this point, more than 20 powerhouses at the second-level martial royal realm and above were all killed by Lu Ming. These 20-odd experts, in addition to the 5 that Lu Ming had killed in the Imperial Dragon City, could be said to be the peak experts of all the continents in the southern part of the continent cluster of the Divine Ruins. In this battle, the peak experts of these continents had suffered heavy losses, and there would be a period of void. The situation of these continents would also change greatly, and there would probably be a shocking war between many forces. Of course, Lu Ming could not be bothered with all these. With a wave of his hand, more than 20 storage rings were put away by Lu Ming. Also, the bodies of more than 20 emperors had all been put into the mountain and river diagram. These were all emperors, and both their blood and essence were priceless treasures. Xiao Wan and the others would be able to put them to great use. After putting it away, Lu Ming headed towards the Imperial Dragon City. Outside the Imperial Dragon City, more than 10 figures were waiting anxiously. Xia Nianqing, Xiao Wan, Xia Zhiyang, and the others. They were all the higher-ups of the Dragon Alliance. Although they knew that Lu Ming's combat strength was powerful and he had created miracles time and time again, they could not help but worry when they were facing powerhouses from many other continents. Lu Ming. Suddenly, Xia Nianqing's eyes lit up and he looked forward. A rainbow light flashed and Lu Ming's figure appeared. Lu Ming, are you all right? Xia Nianqing quickly stepped forward, full of worry. During this period of time, Xia Nianqing had been in seclusion to break through to the Supreme Being realm. However, when he heard the news, he immediately came out of seclusion. I'm fine. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Alliance Master, how are the experts from the other continents? Xiao Wan asked. The others also looked at Lu Ming curiously. Lu Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, the dead bodies of the sovereigns, complete or incomplete, appeared in the air, emitting shocking fluctuations. Even after death, an emperor's body would still emit extremely shocking fluctuations. What is this? Xiao Wan, Xia Zhiyang, and the other emperors were all petrified. These emperors had died not long ago, and they could clearly sense their cultivation base from their corpses. All of them were at the second-level martial royal realm and above. There were as many as 5 of them at the third-level martial royal realm. So many experts had died. It was obvious that he was killed by Lu Ming. Their hearts were twitching, and they were gasping. At the same time, they could not see through Lu Ming anymore. You can keep these corpses. You can plan how to use them. Lu Ming instructed. Xiao Wan and the others put away the emperor corpses in a storage ring. Also, I'll keep the storage rings of the emperors that are useful to me. As for the useless ones, I'll give them to you and store them in the treasury. I'll reward you according to your contributions in the future. Lu Ming said. Xiao Wan and the others nodded. Then, they all bade farewell and left. Only Lu Ming and Xia Nianqing were left in the sky. Lu Ming, what do you plan to do next? Xia Nianqing suddenly asked. Little Qing, I still can't hide it from you. Lu Ming smiled. He held Xia Nianqing's hand and gazed into the depths of the Imperial Dragon City. After this battle, although the continents in the south of the Divine Ruins have suffered heavy losses, this matter will not end just because of this. Behind me are the experts from the 4 great divine palaces of the Divine Ruins continent, as well as the experts from the continents in the west, north, and east of the Divine Ruins continent. These experts will also rush over later. If I continue to stay in the Divine Wilderness continent, it will be a disaster for the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming said solemnly. The strongest person who appeared now was only at the peak of the 3rd-level Martial Emperor realm. If a 4th-level Martial Emperor appeared later, how would Lu Ming deal with it? The 4th-level Martial Emperor realm was much stronger than the 3rd level. Although it was not difficult for Lu Ming to kill an ordinary peak level 3 Martial Royal Realm expert with the help of his main body and secondary body, he was not a match for a level 4 Martial Royal Realm expert. If a 4th-level Martial Royal Realm expert came to the Divine Wilderness continent, the Dragon Alliance, the Imperial Dragon City, and even the entire Divine Wilderness continent would be in trouble. This was not what Lu Ming wanted to see. Lu Ming, you're leaving the Divine Wilderness continent. Head to the continent of the divine ruins? Xian Yanqing asked. She seemed to have guessed Lu Ming's thoughts. Chapter 1373. 1373 Chapter 1373 Returning to the Divine Ruins Continent. That's right, as long as I head to the Divine Ruins Continent and appear there, everyone will gather there. Lu Ming said. After all, those people's target was Lu Ming and the Primordial Chaos Token, not the Divine Wilderness Continent. As long as Lu Ming appeared in the Divine Ruins Continent, everyone who wanted the Primordial Chaos Token would naturally not come to the Divine Wilderness Continent. This way, the Dragon Alliance and Lu Ming's family and friends would be safe. This was Lu Ming's plan. This plan could be said to be very bold and dangerous. Lu Ming, I'll go with you. Xian Yanqing held Lu Ming's hand tightly and stared into his eyes. All right. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming nodded. Xian Yanqing's smile was devastatingly beautiful. Without further ado, Lu Ming gathered the higher-ups of the Dragon Alliance the next day and announced his idea. In the beginning, Xiao Wan, Xia Jiuyang, and the rest were strongly against it. But since Lu Ming had already made up his mind, they could not do anything about it. After the meeting, Lu Ming and Xiao Wan sat opposite each other in the backyard of the Dragon Alliance. Senior Xia, I don't know when Lu Ming will be back. I'll leave the Dragon Alliance to you for the time being. Lu Ming said. Why do you say that, Alliance Master? Xiao Wan was taken aback. There's less than a year before the appointed date with the Yuanlu sect, Dragon God Valley. If we delay our trip to the continent of the Divine Ruins, I'm afraid it will take a year. When the messenger from Dragon God Valley arrives, he will probably have to leave for the Yuanlu. Lu Ming explained. Xiao Wan fell silent. After a while, he said, Alliance Master, don't worry. One day, I, Xiao Wan, will ensure the safety of the Dragon Alliance and your family. Many thanks, Senior. Lu Ming smiled. I will never forget what I promised you. When I have a firm foothold in the Yuanlu continent, I will definitely recommend you to join a big sect. Many thanks. Xiao Wan solemnly raised his glass to Lu Ming. After that, Lu Ming went to have dinner with Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. The next day, Lu Ming brought Xian Yanqing and officially set off for the Divine Ruins. In the northern plains, in the boundless ocean, Lu Ming looked at the Divine Wilderness Continent in the distance, a complicated look in his eyes. He didn't know how long it would take for him to return. Xian Yanqing stood quietly beside Lu Ming, not saying a word. Little Qing, let's go. After a long while, Lu Ming smiled, held Xian Yanqing's hand, and turned to leave. This time, Lu Ming only brought Xian Yanqing and Tu Qian. Lu Ming left him at the Lu family to guard the Lu family. After flying for a while, Xian Yanqing entered the mountains and rivers to cultivate while Lu Ming began to travel at full speed. He had to get to the continent of the Divine Ruins as soon as possible, or else things would change. Lu Ming tore the space apart with all his might and his speed was shocking. Traveling at full speed would consume a lot of energy. Even with Lu Ming's current essential core strength, he would not be able to last long. However, Lu Ming had a secondary body. When the main body's essential core ran out, the main body would enter the mountain and river diagram to recover while the secondary body would continue on its journey. Lu Ming's current speed was slightly faster than an average level 3 martial royal realm expert. He traveled day and night, and in just a few days, the continent of the Divine Ruins was in sight. Back then, it would have taken several months to travel on Lightning Rhino Supreme, but now that he was traveling at full speed, his speed was several dozen times faster than that of Lightning Rhino Supreme. Divine Ruins Continent, I'm back again. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold, and he rushed towards the Divine Ruins Continent. When he arrived at the Divine Ruins Continent, Lu Ming found a place to devour the rough stone and restore his cultivation to its peak. See suppressing Marshal's mansion, you will be the first one to be attacked. Lu Ming muttered, then tore open the space and left. It was very simple to let the continent group of the Divine Ruins know that Lu Ming had come to the continent of the Divine Ruins in a short time. He just had to make a big commotion. Lu Ming's first target was the sea-suppressing marshal's residence. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived at the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. The sea-suppressing marshal's mansion was located in a huge ancient city. It was located in the center of the ancient city and was a continuous stretch of palaces. Boom! Lu Ming appeared in the sky above the ancient city. He did not hide his aura at all. A terrifying pressure enveloped the entire ancient city. What's going on? A provocation. This is a provocation. So powerful. Is this a paragon? How could an autarch have such a powerful aura? Instantly, the entire ancient city was in a clamor. Who's there? How dare you provoke the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion? You're courting death. Audacious. In the center of the ancient city, a terrifying aura rushed out of the endless palace. All of them had the aura of an emperor. Lu Ming scanned with his spiritual senses and discovered no less than 20 emperors' auras. Lu Ming secretly sighed in his heart. The Divine Ruins continent was indeed powerful. This was just the sea-suppressing marshal's residence under the South God Palace, yet there were already more than 20 emperors. It was truly shocking, and it was far from what the Divine Wilderness continent could compare to. Buzz! 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 Following that, many figures rushed to the sky and surrounded Lu Ming. There were a total of 9 figures, 9 sovereigns. Among them, 2 were at the second-level Martial Emperor realm and 7 were at the first-level Martial Emperor realm. Naturally, the sea-suppressing Marshal's mansion wouldn't send out all their powerhouses just because one person came to provoke them. Where's Hai Pingtian? Tell him to come out and face his death. Lu Ming shouted. Hai Pingtian was the name of the sea-suppressing Marshal. How dare you? You're looking for death. He dares to provoke the Marshal, kill him. The sovereigns who surrounded Lu Ming roared. A few of them made their move and charged at Lu Ming. Boom! 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 Lu Ming threw 3 punches in a row, followed by 3 shrieks. The 3 first-level Martial Royal Realm experts were blown up in the air by Lu Ming. You! The other sovereigns were shocked and glared at Lu Ming. They did not expect Lu Ming to be so bold. He dared to make a move in the sea-suppressing Marshal's mansion. He was so ruthless that he killed 3 sovereigns at once. These were emperors. Even in the South God Palace, they were high and mighty figures who ruled over a region. Now, 3 of them had died. Kill! Lu Ming cast the wind elemental technique and moved toward the remaining 5 sovereigns. Lu Ming's fist force was destructive. Whether it was a second-level Martial Emperor or a first-level Martial Emperor, he could destroy them with 1 punch. After 5 punches, the remaining 5 emperors were all killed. In the ancient city, the martial artists who witnessed this all took in a deep breath and were extremely shocked. Where did this fiend come from? He was so young, but his battle prowess was unbelievably strong. He could kill emperors as if he was slaughtering dogs. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the entire ancient city began to shake, and several earth-shaking auras erupted from the center of the palace. Then, a few figures appeared in front of Lu Ming. Their cold killing intent almost froze the world. The Great Commander has appeared. Someone exclaimed. The person in the lead had a head full of green hair. He looked similar to the green-haired middle-aged man who had charged into the Divine Wilderness continent. This was Hai Pingtian, the sea-suppressing Marshal, Hai Pingtian. Hai Pingtian's aura was earth-shattering, as if he was the ruler of the entire world. 4th-level Martial Emperor Realm. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. He could feel a strong pressure from Hai Pingtian. Chapter 1374. 1374 Chapter 1374 Slaughtering the Marshal's Residence. Hai Pengtian's powerful aura that belonged to the fourth-level martial emperor realm bloomed, causing Lu Ming to feel immense pressure. Behind Hai Pengtian were two old men at level 3 martial royal realm. Buzz! Whoosh! At this moment, a group of figures rushed out from below and stood behind Hai Pengtian. There were more than 10 of them, and they were all emperors. Those below the emperor realm didn't even dare to come up. Just that aura alone was enough to suffocate even supreme martial artists. Who the hell are you? Who sent you to attack the sea-suppressing marshal? Hai Pengtian's gaze was cold as he stared at Lu Ming. He did not make a move immediately. On the Divine Ruins continent, not many forces dared to come here so brazenly. The sea-suppressing marshal's mansion belonged to the South God Palace. In the Divine Ruins continent, only the other 3 great divine palaces would dare to do so. Thus, Hai Pengtian was slightly apprehensive and decided to ask clearly first. Me? Didn't you send your second brother to catch me? I'm Lu Ming. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly as he spoke. His clear voice spread throughout the entire ancient city and rang in everyone's ears. What? He's Lu Ming. The number 1 person among the younger generation, the Lu Ming who holds the primordial chaos token. He actually came to the Divine Ruins continent. The ancient city was in an uproar. You are Lu Ming. Hai Pengtian's eyes focused, and a cold killing intent flickered in them. That's right. He's Lu Ming. I've seen him before when the major sects of the Yuanlu continent were selecting their disciples. A voice came from the ancient city. Obviously, someone had recognized Lu Ming. After receiving confirmation, Hai Pengtian's eyes shone brightly. That second brother of mine actually failed. Lu Ming, I really admire your guts. Coming to the Divine Ruins, you actually dare to come to my sea-suppressing marshal's manor to kill people. Today, don't you leave. The aura on Hai Pengtian's body became more and more vigorous. He was about to make his move. Marshal, you don't need to do anything to deal with a little kid. I'll take him down and avenge the 2 young masters. A level 3 martial emperor realm elder stepped out from behind Hai Pengtian and bowed. All right. Cripple his cultivation first, but don't kill him. Hai Pengtian instructed. Yes, don't worry, Marshal. Yes, the level 3 martial royal realm elder replied. He then walked toward Lu Ming and locked his aura onto him. This Lu Ming, second master, went to the Divine Wilderness continent to look for him, but he actually hid in the Divine Ruins continent. But he's also stupid to come to the marshal's manor to vent his anger. He probably suffered a lot from second master. That's good, it should be my credit. The level 3 martial emperor realm old man thought to himself as he revealed a ferocious look. Buzz! A metal rod appeared in his hand and he swung it at Lu Ming. Perfect, kill them one by one. Lu Ming's eyes shone with a cold light. If Hai Pengtian had attacked him, it would have been troublesome. Now that this elder had volunteered, it had given Lu Ming a chance. Boom! Lu Ming stepped forward and threw a punch. The fist and the metal rod collided heavily. Lu Ming's entire body's strength suddenly exploded. The third-level martial emperor realm elder's expression changed drastically. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He had not expected Lu Ming's strength to be so terrifying. Then, his body staggered backward. Kill! Lu Ming cast the wind element technique and appeared in front of the elder in an instant. He threw a punch. The old man gathered all his energy into the long staff and swung it at Lu Ming. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's glabella glowed. He took a step forward and waved his hand. The martial arts phoenix feather flying sword whizzed out and attacked the old man. This time, it was too sudden, and he was caught off guard. The elder's attention was on Lu Ming. He did not expect another Lu Ming to appear between Lu Ming's brows. It was too late for him to dodge. Pfft! The 5 phoenix feather flying swords pierced through the old man's 5 vital points and killed him. Kill! After killing the elder, Lu Ming did not stop at all. He controlled the air-frozen bead and a green energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Then, he cast the wind element art and his speed reached its maximum. Lu Ming charged at the other sovereigns. The dragon vein sword appeared and he slashed at them. 2 first-level martial emperors were killed by Lu Ming with a single slash. All of this had happened too quickly. Only now did the ROC king react. The main thing was that everything was too unexpected. Lu Ming's aura was clearly that of a supreme. A 3rd-level martial royal realm expert was killed by a supreme in an instant. By the time he reacted, Lu Ming had already killed 2 more people. You're looking for death. Hai Pengtian was furious. He roared and sent a palm towards Lu Ming. Hai Pengtian furiously struck out with this palm, its might incomparably shocking. Voila! With a wave of his hand, the myriad array diagram appeared. In an instant, dozens of defensive arrays appeared to block Hai Pengtian. But... bang! 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 A series of explosions rang out as these formations crumbled under the force of Hai Pengtian's palm. The strength of a level 4 martial emperor was too strong. The all formations diagram was an emperor's spiritual weapon. The formations inside would become more powerful as the cultivation of the second body increased. With his current realm, activating these formations would be extremely useful against level 3 martial emperors. However, under Hai Pengtian's palm, they all exploded. The second body's expression changed slightly. He didn't want to make any mistakes, but he wanted to avoid them. The mental energy fire between his brows lit up, and more formations appeared in the million formation illustration. They were all defensive and trapping type. His goal was to block Hai Pengtian for a period of time. At the same time, Lu Ming took the lead and cast the wind element technique to attack the other sovereigns. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming was unrivaled as the dragon vein sword slashed across. Regardless of whether they were at the 1st or 2nd level of the martial royal realm, they were all killed in one move. In the blink of an eye, a few more people died under Lu Ming's sword. Lu Ming's speed was too fast. These people did not even have time to escape. Damn it! Hai Pengtian roared in anger. A pair of golden wings appeared on his back, like the wings of a great ROC. Of course, these weren't real wings. They were spiritual weapons, emperor-level spiritual weapons. Buzz! Buzz! A pair of golden wings, like 2 heavenly swords, swept across. The great formation activated by the million formation illustration was continuously being destroyed. Hai Pengtian rapidly attacked the second body. He took a few steps forward, and runes and arrays appeared in the air to coordinate with the all-array diagram. In the end, the second body even used the inscription scrolls. With a wave of his hand, hundreds of inscription scrolls flew out. All kinds of energy poured out towards Hai Pengtian. For a moment, Hai Pengtian was unable to break through the defense of his second body. The main body continued to kill. The dragon vein sword slashed out, and another 2 people were killed. In the blink of an eye, there was only 1 emperor left in the void. A 3rd-level martial emperor. This level 3 martial emperor realm old man had long been scared out of his wits. He did not dare to resist at all and hid behind Hai Pengtian, thus escaping this calamity. Lu Ming had almost killed all the martial emperors in the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. Chapter 1375. 1375 The Scheme of the South God Palace. In the ancient city, everyone who witnessed this scene was dumbfounded. The sea-suppressing marshal's mansion was a powerful force that had a reputation of being able to spread for hundreds of millions of miles. They were overbearing and powerful. When had they ever been in such a miserable state? There were more than 20 sovereigns, and all of them were killed. Even a colossus like the South God Palace would feel pain in their hearts. Hai Pengtian's eyes had turned red. These were all his subordinates, and they were all killed just like that. He knew that he was finished. His position as the sea-suppressing marshal had come to an end. "Brat, I'm going to cut you into 1,000 pieces." Hai Pengtian roared in anger. The pair of wings on his back emitted a sharp light. The light shone brightly and swept across, shattering the formations that he had set up. Buzz! He charged toward Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. "Ha, Hai Pengtian, I'm not going to play with you anymore. Let's stop here today." Lu Ming smiled. He took a step forward and entered the main body's glabella. Lu Ming cast the wind element technique and sped into the distance. "Stay here." Hai Pengtian glared at Lu Ming and pushed his cultivation to the limit. He flapped his wings madly, destroying the formation in the sky. Then, with a flap of his wings, he turned into a rainbow and chased after Lu Ming. "Ha, Hai Pengtian, I forgot to tell you something. I've already killed your second brother." Lu Ming laughed heartily. The energy of the air-frozen bead gushed into his body. Lu Ming's speed was extremely fast. In a few moments, he had left Hai Pengtian behind. What? Hai Pengtian felt a suffocating feeling in his chest and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. In the end, he gritted his teeth and controlled his wings with all his might to pursue Lu Ming. However, with the help of the air-frozen bead, Lu Ming's speed was slightly faster than Hai Pengtian's. The more they flew, the further the distance between the two of them grew. In less than an hour, Hai Pengtian could no longer see Lu Ming's shadow. "Lu Ming, I will definitely catch you." Hai Pengtian let out an angry roar and stopped unwillingly. A few days later, the news that Lu Ming had come to the continent of divine ruins and killed more than 20 emperors of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion spread to the entire continent of divine ruins at the speed of a whirlwind, and even to other continents. For a time, thousands of waves were stirred up. Now, countless experts were looking for Lu Ming, but he was so bold that he came to the continent of the divine ruins of his own accord. Moreover, he was very high profile. As soon as he arrived in the divine ruins continent, he killed his way to the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion, killed more than 20 emperors, and then retreated calmly. This shocked many people. Many people began to re-evaluate Lu Ming's combat strength. Some of the weaker martial emperors decided to back out, but those who were stronger and had reached the martial emperor realm did not give up. All of a sudden, terrifying experts gathered in the southern region of the South God Palace in an attempt to capture Lu Ming. Most of these experts were from the eastern, northern and western divine palaces. As long as Lu Ming appeared in a certain place, a large number of experts would rush over. Among them, Hai Pengtian was the most active. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. In the past month, Lu Ming would occasionally show himself and then escape in the dark. His goal was obvious. He wanted to tell the outside world that he, Lu Ming, was in the divine ruins continent. That way, those experts would not go to the divine wilderness continent to find him. In the South God Palace, 10 people were sitting in a meeting hall. These 10 people were the patriarchs of the 10 great clans of the South God Palace. They were also the 10 people with the highest status in the South God Palace. The 10 of them gathered to discuss Lu Ming's matter. "Everyone, what should the South God Palace do about Lu Ming's matter?" one of them asked. "Of course we'll send experts to capture Lu Ming. He still has a primordial chaos token on him." One of the middle-aged men, who was rather handsome, said. This person was wearing a milky white long robe and had a rather refined aura. This person was one of the 10 great clans, the Wang clan's clan head, Wang Zhen's father, Wang Sheng. "That's right. I agree with Brother Wang's suggestion. We should send out experts to take Lu Ming down. As long as we don't kill him, we can even cripple his cultivation. At Wang Xing's side, a person coldly said. This person was the newly promoted master of the Mu family. The previous head of the Mu family had joined forces with young Master Lin of the deity sect to chase after Lu Ming. They had chased him into the core of the divine ruins and were killed by the headless true dragon rider. Therefore, this person was newly promoted. I don't think it's appropriate. At this moment, another voice was heard. Wang Xing's eyes turned cold. Looking at that person, he said, Ji Feng, what do you mean by this? Why is it inappropriate? I know that your daughter, Ji Hongqian, has some friendship with Lu Ming. Are you trying to help him? Ji Feng, the clan head of the Ji clan, was Ji Hongqian's father. Laughable. Ji Feng gave Wang Sheng a contemptuous look and said, now that Long Chen is in the hands of our South Deity Palace, the other three great divine palaces are already envious. What will the other three great divine palaces do if we capture Lu Ming? Will they join forces to attack our South God Palace? At that time, what will our South God Palace have to resist? His words silenced the hall. That's right, I think Brother Ji has a point. The South Deity Palace will not interfere in Lu Ming's matter for the time being. Someone else said after a long while. Lu Ming killed more than 20 emperors from the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. Are we going to just let it go? The Mu family's master was unwilling. We don't need to do anything to Lu Ming. If he falls into the hands of the other three celestial palaces, he'll definitely suffer a fate worse than death. Someone said. That's right, we just need to do our best to protect Long Chen. Moreover, to enter the divine ruins, a mixed essence token is enough. Indeed, Lu Ming, let them fight for it. The others chimed in. Wang Sheng and the Mu family's head were helpless, and could only compromise. In the southern part of the divine ruins continent, in a wild mountain. This place was extremely well hidden and filled with demonic qi. Unless one was an expert who cultivated the demonic path, very few people would come here. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing appeared there. Little Qing, you should cultivate here for the time being. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, what do you want to do? Don't even think about leaving me alone. Xian Yanqing smacked his lips. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Shao Qing, don't worry. I'll be fine. I'll come and visit you after a while. Seeing that Xian Yanqing was still staring at him with wide eyes, Lu Ming said, and I have a main body and a secondary body. My main body and my secondary body will act separately. Nothing will happen to me. You want to go to the South God Palace and ask about Long Chen's whereabouts? Xian Yanqing was extremely intelligent. He guessed Lu Ming's thoughts right away. Lu Ming nodded. That's right. I'm planning to let my second body sneak into the South God Palace. My main body will be outside to attract the attention of others. This was Lu Ming's plan. He would use his main body outside to attract the attention of those experts, while his second body would sneak into the South God Palace and wait for an opportunity to rescue Long Chen. This operation would be dangerous. Although he had the mountain and river diagram and could bring Xian Yanqing along, Lu Ming could not guarantee that he would not be in danger. If anything happened to him, Xian Yanqing, who was in the mountain and river diagram, would definitely not be spared. That was why he left Xian Yanqing here and acted alone. Chapter 1376. 1376 Chapter 1376 Sneaking into South God Palace. Lu Ming. Tears welled up in Xian Yanqing's eyes as he clenched his fists tightly. She knew that with her current combat strength, she would not be able to help Lu Ming even if she followed him. Instead, she would only distract him. At this moment, she hated that her cultivation was low and she could not share Lu Ming's burden. She gritted her teeth secretly. She must work hard in cultivation and try her best to keep up with Lu Ming's pace. In the future, she would be able to help Lu Ming. Alright, I'll cultivate here. You must be careful. Finally, Xian Yanqing spoke. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Lu Ming touched Xian Yanqing's soft black hair, then he gave Xian Yanqing a light peck on his red lips and floated away. Looking in the direction that Lu Ming left, Xian Yanqing swore to himself that he would never be a burden to Lu Ming again. First, I'll break through to the Supreme Being realm. Then, I'll become an emperor. Determination flashed in Xian Yanqing's eyes. He turned and walked into the mountain that was filled with demonic qi. After Lu Ming left Xian Yanqing, he traveled thousands of miles in an instant. Half a day later, he had flown an endless distance. At this moment, a figure stepped out from between his eyebrows and appeared in front of Lu Ming. Then, the clone's body began to change. Runes appeared on his body, and his aura also began to change. After a while, the clone changed into a new set of clothes and became a completely different person. After disguising himself, the second body tore open the void and headed toward the South God Palace. As for the main body, it found a place to cultivate in peace. His plan was simple. Just like what Xian Yanqing had told him, he would sneak into the South God Palace to find out more about the situation, while his main body would cultivate outside. He would occasionally appear to attract the attention of others. Currently, his main body was mainly cultivating three types. The first was, of course, the early stage domain. When a domain was first formed, it was very small. It needed to be nurtured continuously before it could slowly mature. When the domain reached its limit, one could then start to break through to the Emperor realm. During this period of time, Lu Ming did not stop nurturing the embryonic stage of the domain. He had made great progress, but he was still a distance away from his limit. The second thing to cultivate was the pure spirit body. Now, the pure spirit body had reached the peak of 70%, and it would soon reach 80%. The third was to cultivate 5 martial techniques of creation. The 5 martial techniques were all at the 5th level, but they were close to the 6th level. Once he broke through the 6th level, he could practice the Chaos Will martial technique, Chaos Sky Turning Seal. Lu Ming's current cultivation should be called the Chaos Realm Martial Arts Technique. The Chaos Sky Turning Seal was very special. If it was cultivated when one was in the state of conception, it would be a martial technique of conception. Now that Lu Ming had comprehended the embryonic form of the domain, if he cultivated it now and complemented it with the domain, it would become a domain martial technique with extremely shocking power. Lu Ming was very much looking forward to it. The main body cultivated quietly while the second body rushed toward the South God Palace. Soon, he arrived at the South God Palace. After a few months, Lu Ming came to the South God Palace again. The last time he came, he was here to participate in the selection of disciples. In the end, he was still chased and had to escape from the South God Palace. Lu Ming's thoughts were in a whirl as he walked toward the South God Palace. The South God Palace is recruiting inscriber. Not long after he entered the South God Palace, Lu Ming heard this piece of news. Recruit an inscriber. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. After asking around, he finally knew why. The South God Palace seemed to be guarding something. They recruited inscribers, inscribed arrays, and guarded the arrays. As for what it was, there were different opinions and all sorts of guesses. Could it be that the South God Palace is guarding Longchen? Lu Ming guessed in his heart. The mixed essence token could allow one to enter and leave the divine ruins safely. Everyone wanted it, and the other 3 great divine palaces were also eyeing it. Since the South God Palace controlled Longchen, it was equivalent to controlling a mixed essence token. Naturally, they had to guard it tightly in case it was stolen by the other 3 great god palaces. Therefore, it was reasonable for them to recruit inscribers and strengthen the guard. Regardless, let's go and take a look. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he headed to the recruitment site. When he arrived at the recruitment site, Lu Ming discovered that many people were inscription masters. The reward given by the South God Palace this time was extremely generous, which attracted many alchemists to sign up, but many of them looked depressed. After some inquiries, Lu Ming knew why these people were depressed. It was because the inscription masters recruited by the South God Palace had to be at least level 8. A level 8 alchemist was equivalent to a spiritual god realm warrior. To become an inscriber, one had to be very talented. Therefore, in this world, the number of people who practiced the path of inscriber was relatively small. Naturally, there were far fewer inscribers above the 8th rank than spiritual god realm warriors. Those who were dejected were those who had not reached the 8th rank. Lu Ming went forward and came to a counter. We're looking for an inscriber above the 8th rank. Are you an 8th rank inscriber? An old man in charge of recruitment looked at Lu Ming with a hint of contempt in his eyes. After Lu Ming had changed his appearance, he looked ordinary, but he was very young. How could he be a level 8 alchemist at such a young age? The old man didn't quite believe it. The path of inscription was more difficult to cultivate than martial arts. The elder was a supreme level inscriber. It took him hundreds of years to break through to become a level 8 inscriber. And how old was Lu Ming? I'm an 8th rank alchemist. Lu Ming smiled and did not take it to heart. Oh. You're an 8th rank alchemist. Don't lie to me. Show me your mental fire. The old man said. Lu Ming nodded. A silavir light was emitted from between his eyebrows. His strong mental energy filled the entire area, attracting everyone's attention. Such pure mind power, such pure mind fire. The recruiting elder gasped and looked at Lu Ming in shock. He felt that Lu Ming's mental energy fire was extremely pure. If the mental energy fire of ordinary people was like that of ordinary people, then Lu Ming's mental energy fire was like that of an emperor. Yes, the old man felt that his mental energy fire seemed to be under great pressure. It should be fine now. Lu Ming muttered and kept the mental energy fire. He had used a certain method to conceal the color of his mental energy fire, making it look like a silavir mental energy fire. Moreover, Lu Ming tried his best to suppress it and only revealed a little bit. The color could be changed and the quantity could be suppressed, but the essence of his mental energy fire could not be changed. He was an emperor and had inherited the legacy of the profound sky saint. Every step he took was perfect, and his mind fire was naturally pure and condensed to the extreme. It was far from what ordinary people could compare to. Good, good. So little brother is a genius in the Tao of inscription. I was wrong just now, haha. The old man smiled awkwardly and registered Lu Ming's information. After the registration, he passed Lu Ming a jade card. Lu Ming took the jade card and waited at the side. A few hours later, the recruitment was over. They had recruited 7 level 8 alchemists. Come with me to the place you're supposed to guard. As for the reward, it'll be paid every month. The South God Palace won't be short of a single raw stone. The recruitment elder led Lu Ming and the rest into the depths of the South God Palace. Chapter 1377. 1377 Chapter 1377 Great Realm Energy Chain Formation. In the depths of the South God Palace, there was a huge mountain. It had a grand aura and occupied a vast area. After recruiting the old man, he brought them to the outskirts of the mountain and stopped. So many inscription masters. What a huge array. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the area and discovered that there were at least 100 inscription masters at the periphery of the mountain. Every one of them was a level 8 inscription master. The entire mountain's periphery was covered by a huge formation. Alright, this is the place you will be guarding. There is a large array here. Each of you will be part of the large array. You will need to inject your mind power frequently to maintain the operation of the large array. How about it? It's simple, right? The old man who recruited them said. Everyone nodded. This was indeed very simple. They only needed to inject their spiritual power to maintain the operation of the formation. However, there is one thing I must warn you about. This is the forbidden area of the South God Palace. You'd better stay in the outer area and don't wander around, especially in the depths of this mountain. If you are discovered by the experts of the South God Palace, no one can save you. The recruitment elder changed his tone and warned everyone. The others felt a chill in their hearts and nodded repeatedly. However, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He had a stronger feeling that Long Chen was most likely being held here. There were people recruited from outside and were only in charge of the outer circle. They couldn't let outsiders be in charge of the mountain's internal affairs. The old man who recruited them said a few more words and told them the areas each of them were responsible for before leaving. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a green rock. He carefully spread his mental energy out and observed. There were many experts near the mountain. Lu Ming did not dare to be too presumptuous. However, Lu Ming had lit up 2 spirit lamps and his control of his mental energy had reached the realm of perfection. When his mental energy was released, even an ordinary 3rd-level martial emperor would not be able to detect it. Unless it was a level 4 martial monarch. However, even in the Divine Ruins continent, a level 4 martial royal realm expert was considered a peak expert, and there were not many of them. His mental energy spread further and further. Very soon, the entire outer area of the mountain was covered by Lu Ming's mental energy. Outside the mountain, there was a huge formation. It had the functions of sensing, attacking, and defending. Once someone broke in, it would immediately alert everyone and attack at the same time. However, Lu Ming soon understood all the secrets of the array. The array was huge and required so many level 8 alchemists to control it at the same time. Its power was shocking, but it had more flaws. Lu Ming could easily find dozens of them. Of course, this was only for Lu Ming. To other level 8 alchemists, they would only feel that the array was mysterious, grand, and unbelievably complicated. Lu Ming did not use his mental energy to cover the depths of the mountain as he was afraid that there were experts guarding it. Soon, night fell. At this moment, Lu Ming moved. A figure that looked exactly like Lu Ming appeared where he was standing. This was Lu Ming's formation. His figure, on the other hand, was heading towards the depths of the mountain. To Lu Ming, the large array outside was like a flat road. It did not pose any obstacle. After passing through the array, Lu Ming came to the depths of the mountain. At this point, Lu Ming stopped. He looked into the depths of the mountain, and there seemed to be a formation rotating in his eyes. What a wondrous formation! Very soon, everything deep in the mountain appeared before Lu Ming's eyes. At the bottom of the mountain, there was a cave. Clearly, there was another world inside the mountain. And on the path leading to this cave, a large formation was inscribed. This kind of formation was extremely profound. It's actually the Great Realm Energy Chain Formation. After watching for a while, Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He felt that it was a little tricky. The Great Array of Connected Realm Energy was a pure sensing array. It did not have any offensive or defensive power. It only had the ability to sense. As long as someone walked into the Great Array of Realm Energy, the Great Array would sound an alarm. Of course, Lu Ming could easily break an ordinary sensing array. However, even he would find it difficult to break the linked realm energy array in front of him. Lu Ming could tell that there were a total of 10 major arrays in front of him. They were interconnected and each of the 10 major arrays had locked onto one type of aura. 10 formations meant 10 different auras, which were the auras of 10 people. If he wanted to break this kind of array, he could only use the aura of these 10 people to refine an array-breaking token. Only then would he be able to enter silently. Otherwise, no matter how powerful the formation was, it would still be able to sense him and send out an alarm. It was obvious that if Long Chen was locked up in this mountain, the others in the mountain would move him away as soon as the alarm was sounded. Even if they forced their way in, they wouldn't be able to save him. If he wanted to enter the mountain without a sound, he had to break the realm energy chain formation. But how to crack it? Most importantly, Lu Ming did not know whose aura it was. How was he going to get the auras of these 10 people? Lu Ming took a closer look and then backed out, returning to his original position. The South God Palace really values the mixed essence token. They're so heavily guarded. It's not that easy to save Long Chen. Lu Ming was pondering in his heart. In order to break this realm energy chain array and refine the array breaking token, I must have the auras of those 10 people, but which 10 people do they belong to? I've heard that the South God Palace is led by the top 10 families. Could it be that the aura of these 10 people are the patriarchs of the top 10 families? Lu Ming guessed in his heart. This possibility was the highest. However, there was no guarantee that Lu Ming planned to find an opportunity to secretly investigate. For the next 7 days, Lu Ming was thinking of this strategy, but he came up with nothing. On the 8th night, Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed. He saw a figure flickering in the mountains. It was so fast that there was no movement at all. Not even a shadow could be seen. The level 8 alchemists did not notice it at all. If not for Lu Ming's powerful cultivation, it would have been difficult for him to discover it. This figure seemed to be very familiar with the formation on the outside. He shuttled through the formation and headed towards the inner part of the mountain. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He moved and followed the figure into the mountain. After passing through the formation, the figure stopped. The figure was wrapped in a black robe and her appearance could not be seen clearly. However, from the figure, it was clearly a woman. Long Chen, I know that the South God Palace has gone too far by treating you like this. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. The figure sighed slightly. The voice was very soft but Lu Ming could still hear it. This is Ji Hongchen. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. This voice was clearly Ji Hongchen's voice. Lu Ming would definitely not remember it wrong. Ji Hongchen did not stay for long before he turned and left. Lu Ming followed behind Ji Hongchen. Should we get Ji Hongchen's help? Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Although Lu Ming was not very close to Ji Hongchen, he still acknowledged Ji Hongchen's character. And from the looks of it, Ji Hongchen seemed to have the intention to help Long Chen, but he was helpless. Lu Ming pondered and followed Ji Hongchen out of the mountain. They headed to the other areas of the South God Palace. However, not long after, Ji Hongchen's figure suddenly stopped. His gaze shifted as he berated, "Who is it? Are you following me?" Chapter 1378. 1378 Dragon God Valley has been destroyed. Ji Hongchen's gaze swept across the surroundings and he spread out his spiritual consciousness. He seemed to have discovered that someone was following him. What a strong spiritual sense. Is this the sixth sense of a woman? Lu Ming smiled in his heart. Ji Hongchen had not actually noticed him. Perhaps it was because of his innate spiritual perception that Ji Hongchen had sensed that he was being followed. That was why he had stopped and berated him. However, when Ji Hongchen's holy sense swept out, he did not discover anyone. Strange, did I sense it wrong? Ji Hongchen muttered to himself, thinking that he was hallucinating. Just as he was about to move forward, his pupils suddenly shrank and a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. This was because a young man had appeared in front of her without her knowing. He was looking at her with a smile that was not a smile. This shocked her greatly and she subconsciously retreated. Who are you? Were you the one following me? Ji Hongchen berated. Now that Lu Ming had changed his appearance, Ji Hongchen naturally could not recognize him. Miss Ji, how have you been? Do you still remember this Lu? Lu Ming said. At the same time, his figure began to transform into Lu Ming's original appearance. After thinking about it, Lu Ming decided to take a gamble and come out to meet Ji Hongchen. Lu Ming really needed help. He had previously learned that Ji Hongchen was the daughter of the head of the Ji family, one of the 10 great families of the Southern Deity Palace. If he had Ji Hongchen's help, it would be much more convenient for him. Lu Ming, it's you. After seeing Lu Ming's true face, Ji Hongqian let out a soft cry. She was in disbelief. Now, all the experts in the world were looking for Lu Ming to capture him. Who would have thought that Lu Ming would come to the South God Palace? I'm honored that Miss Ji still remembers me. Lu Ming smiled. Ji Hongqian took off the black veil on her head and revealed her beautiful face. She sized Lu Ming up and said, Lu Ming, how dare you come to the South God Palace and show up in front of me? Aren't you afraid that I'll get someone to take you down? I believe that Miss Ji is not such a person. Lu Ming smiled. Ji Hongqian's eyes flickered and a smile appeared on his face. He then rolled his eyes and said, Lu Ming, there must be something for you to appear in front of me, right? That's right. Lu Ming has something to ask Miss Ji for help. Lu Ming's expression turned solemn as he cupped his fists. Oh. Tell me, I might not be able to help you. Ji Hongqian said. Miss Ji, is Long Chen being held in that mountain? Lu Ming asked. That's right. Long Chen is locked up inside. Lu Ming, you're trying to save Long Chen, aren't you? I advise you to give up on that idea. There's no way you can save him. The security is too tight. Ji Hongqian sighed. Although the realm energy chain formation is profound, it's not impossible to break. Lu Ming said. You know about the realm energy chain formation? Ji Hongqian was taken aback. He then continued, since you know about the realm energy chain formation, you should know how difficult it is to enter. The auras of the 10 people in the realm energy chain formation are the auras of the 10 great clan patriarchs of the South God Palace, right? Lu Ming continued to ask. Not bad. Ji Hongqian didn't try to hide anything as he nodded his head. Therefore, Lu Ming has something that he would like to ask Miss Ji for help with. Lu Ming said. Don't tell me you want me to help you obtain the auras of the top 10 family patriarchs. Ji Hongqian's beautiful eyes widened as he spoke. That's right, with Miss Ji's status, it shouldn't be too difficult. Lu Ming nodded. Aura. Once a person touched something, an object, there would be a trace of aura. For example, the clothes that one had worn, the utensils that one had used, or the hair of a human body would all have a scent. As long as he could obtain these, it would be enough. The patriarchs of the 10 great clans of the South God Palace were all at the lever 4 martial royal realm. It was impossible for ordinary people to detect their auras. However, Ji Hongqian was different. Her father was a clan patriarch. With her status, it was still possible for her to detect the auras of the 10 great clan patriarchs. Lu Ming, although I feel that it's unfair for the South God Palace to treat you and Long Chen like this, it's really not easy to save Long Chen. Even if you have the aura of the 10 great clan chiefs, can you refine the array-breaking token? The method of making the token is top secret. Even I can't get it. Ji Hongqian said. Don't worry about this, Miss Ji. As long as I have the aura of the 10 great clan chiefs, I can refine the array-breaking token. Lu Ming said with confidence. Really? Ji Hongqian found it hard to believe. Could it be that Lu Ming was not only talented in martial arts, but also a powerful inscriber? As far as she knew, even if one knew how to refine it, it was impossible to refine it without the cultivation of a 9th-level alchemist. Of course it's true. As soon as he finished speaking, a golden mental energy fire jumped between Lu Ming's eyebrows. It was dazzling. Ji Hongqian's beautiful big eyes suddenly widened. His small mouth was slightly agape as an expression of disbelief appeared on his face. Lu Ming was really a level 9 alchemist. In that case, when the major sects of the Yuanlu continent were selecting their disciples, Lu Ming did not use his full strength at all. Just based on martial arts alone, he was able to suppress everyone, and his Tao of inscription had even reached the emperor level. What a freak! Ji Hongqian wailed in his heart. Miss G. Lu Ming put away the mental energy fire and called out to Ji Hongchen a few times. Ji Hongchen then came back to his senses from the shock. Her beautiful eyes blinked and stared at Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming's hair to stand on end. What a freak. In the end, Ji Hongchen mumbled something that made Lu Ming roll his eyes. Alright, I promise you. I'll help you get the aura of the 10 great clan chiefs. After a moment of silence, Ji Hongchen nodded his head. Miss Ji, I still have a question. Would you like to ask? Lu Ming was overjoyed. By right, Long Chen and I have been selected by the Dragon God Valley as their disciples. How could the South Deity Palace and the other 3 great deity palaces have the guts to deal with us? It seems like you have no scruples at all. Lu Ming asked the biggest question in his heart. This question had been bothering Lu Ming. He and Long Chen were disciples of the Dragon God Valley. How dare these people from the Divine Ruins continent treat them like this? Weren't they afraid that the experts of the Dragon God Valley would come and kill them? If he had done it secretly, it would still be acceptable, but now, he was clearly doing it openly. Lu Ming, you don't know yet, do you? A few months ago, the Tianjin sect sent news that the Dragon God Valley in the Yuan continent was destroyed. Ji Hongchen revealed a shocking piece of news. Destroyed? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. The Dragon God Valley, a major sect in the Yuanlu continent, had been destroyed. In that case, everything made sense. If Dragon God Valley was destroyed, what would the experts on the continent have to worry about? Lu Ming was also speechless. He had joined a big sect in the Yuan continent after much difficulty. Now, he had not even entered the sect and was already destroyed. It seemed that the danger level of the Yuan continent was much higher than the continents of the Divine Ruins. A great sect had been destroyed just like that. It seemed that even if he went to the Yuan continent in the future, he would have to find a new sect to join. Chapter 1379. 1379 Chapter 1379 Unforeseen Event. Many thanks, Miss G. After a long while, Lu Ming took a deep breath to calm himself down and thanked Ji Hongchen. Today, many doubts in Lu Ming's heart were resolved. You're welcome. I'll take my leave first. I'll come to you again when I find the aura of the clan leaders of the top 10 families. Ji Hongchen said. Before she left, she blinked her eyes and looked at Lu Ming. Do you really believe me? Aren't you afraid that I'll find some experts to take you down? If that's the case, the 2 primordial chaos tokens will be in our hands. Lu Ming smiled and said, didn't I just say it? I believe in Miss G. Ji Hongchen smiled and flew away. After Ji Hongchen left, Lu Ming changed his appearance again and returned to the periphery of the mountain, the area that he was in charge of. Unexpectedly, Ji Hongchen came to look for Lu Ming the next night. Lu Ming, this is the teacup that my father once drank from. I believe it will be useful to you. Ji Hongchen passed Lu Ming a jade teacup. Thank you, Miss Ji. Lu Ming received it in joy. Ji Hongchen gave a faint smile and left without saying anything. Following that, the detailed diagram of the air vein chain formation appeared in Lu Ming's mind. During this period of time, he had thoroughly analyzed the mysteries of the realm energy interlocking formation and reflected them in his mind. Then, he took out a jade talisman and extracted the Ji family's aura from the teacup. He absorbed the aura into the jade talisman and began to carve inscriptions on it. 3 days later, the first token was successfully refined. As long as one held this token and entered the formation corresponding to the Ji family's head, the formation would not issue any alarm. Unfortunately, the realm energy linking formation required 10 tokens. One less token was useless. After a few more days, Ji Hongchen sent over the aura of the second clan head. Lu Ming, it's easy for me to get some family heads who are on good terms with my father. However, it'll be troublesome for some family heads who are on opposing sides with my father. I'll need some time, Ji Hongqian said to Lu Ming before he left. Lu Ming could understand. After all, this was a 4th-level martial royal realm expert. It was not easy to obtain the aura of the clan leaders of the 10 great clans of the South Deity Palace. Lu Ming could only refine the aura in his hands into a token. Other than guarding the array, Lu Ming spent the rest of his time cultivating alone to strengthen his mental energy fire. It did not take up much time. Time passed day by day. In the outside world, Lu Ming's main body would occasionally appear to attract people's attention besides cultivating. More and more experts took part in the pursuit of Lu Ming. In addition to the experts from the other 3 great divine palaces, the experts from the continent of the divine ruins and other continents also came to the continent of the divine ruins one after another. However, Lu Ming was proficient in the illusionary breath technique and could change his aura. Moreover, he had powerful combat strength. Every time he appeared, he would stir the air and escape easily. Just like that, more than 4 months passed in the blink of an eye. It was getting closer and closer to the 2-year agreement with the big sects of the Yuanlu continent. After more than 4 months, Lu Ming had already refined 7 array-breaking tokens. Now, Ji Hongqian's speed of obtaining aura was getting slower and slower. The time he needed was getting longer and longer. Because the rest of the people were enemies of the Ji family, it would be difficult to get their aura. Night fell. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a blue stone and closed his eyes to cultivate. Between heaven and earth, there were strands of invisible power of inscription that descended from the inscription law and was absorbed by Lu Ming. The mental energy fire in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness slowly grew stronger. Suddenly, Lu Ming opened his eyes and looked ahead. It's here again, Lu Ming muttered. 2 black shadows shuttled through the array silently. No one noticed them except Lu Ming. These 2 figures were not Ji Hongqian. They were someone else. 2 months ago, these 2 figures had been secretly observing the mountain's realm energy chain formation. Behind him, Lu Ming observed secretly and finally discovered something. The 2 people who were observing in the dark were actually experts from the Wang clan, one of the 10 great clans of the South God Palace. Lu Ming guessed that the Wang family also wanted to refine the token. Their goal was simple: to take Long Qin away and keep the primordial chaos token for themselves. After a while, the 2 figures retreated. After the 2 of them left, another figure came forward. It was Ji Hongqian. This time, Ji Hongqian had brought the 8th aura. Lu Ming, there are 2 other types. Ji Hongqian's face was slightly haggard. It was obvious that she had put in a lot of effort in this short period of time in order to obtain the aura of the 10 clan heads. Lu Ming was very touched. After Ji Hongqian left, Lu Ming continued to refine the array-breaking token. Time flew by, and another month passed. Ji Hongqian had delivered the 9th aura. It had been 5 months since Lu Ming entered the South God Palace. After Lu Ming received the aura, he began to refine the array-breaking token. However, something happened that night. More than a dozen black shadows shuttled through the darkness, heading towards the depths of the mountain. That's... Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The dozen or so black shadows were all experts, all emperors. There was even one whose cultivation was unfathomable. He was a level 4 martial royal realm expert. There aren't many 4th-level martial emperors in the entire South God Palace. Could it be that the Wang clan's clan master has personally made a move? The Wang clan has sent so many experts this time. Could it be that they have already refined 10 formation-breaking tokens? Lu Ming made a guess. Runes appeared on his body and he restrained his aura to the extreme. His figure flashed and he followed behind the dozen figures silently. When he arrived in front of the realm energy chain formation, the strongest man waved his hand and took out 10 jade tokens. As expected, the other party had refined 10 array-breaking tokens, one step ahead of Lu Ming. The 10 array-breaking tokens emitted a layer of light that enveloped the dozens of black shadows. The dozens of black shadows rushed into the realm energy chain array without causing any waves. Not long after, a dozen black figures rushed into the cave and disappeared. Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows tightly. Now that the plan had changed and exceeded his expectations, he could only take one step at a time. Not long after, more than a dozen people reappeared at the entrance of the cave, but this time, there was one more person in the middle. Long Chen. Lu Ming immediately saw Long Chen among the group of people. Long Chen's face was pale as he was being carried by someone. It was obvious that Long Chen had suffered a lot during this period of time, but his eyes were still determined. More than a dozen people took Long Chen and quickly passed through the formation, arriving at the outermost formation. They were about to pass through the formation and escape. Boom! 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 In the sky, powerful auras suddenly burst out. There were over 100 of them. Then, hundreds of figures descended and surrounded the dozen figures. Wang Sheng, you really want to keep the primordial chaos token for yourself. You found someone to privately refine the formation-breaking token, do you think we don't know? A white-haired old man coldly shouted. Ha ha ha. The one with the strongest aura among the dozen or so people laughed heartily. He circulated his true essence, and the black robe wrapped around him shattered, revealing his true appearance. It was the Wang family's patriarch, Wang Sheng. As for the others, they were obviously experts from the other clans of the South God Palace. Chapter 1380. 1380 The chaotic battle between the North and South. Looking at this situation, the other families of the South God Palace seemed to have long known that Wang Sheng and the others wanted to take the mixed energy token for themselves. They deliberately let Wang Sheng and the others in, and they were caught red-handed outside. Wang Sheng faced the sky and laughed loudly, his gaze sweeping across the entire place, saying, "What do you mean?" Long Chen was captured by the Wang family, and he's also an expert of the Wang family. After searching Long Chen's soul, we found out the use of the token. It was you guys who joined forces to force me to hand over Long Chen and share the token with him. Now, I'm just taking back what I deserve. Ridiculous, Wang Sheng, if we didn't jointly control it, do you think that your Wang clan alone could protect the mixed energy token? It would have been taken away by the other 3 divine palaces. One of the patriarchs shouted coldly. Ha ha ha, I'd rather the mixed energy token fall into the hands of the other 3 divine palaces than share it with you. So what if you cowards get the mixed energy token? They can only seal it up, but they don't dare to take it out to use. What's the use of such a primordial chaos token to enter the divine ruins and obtain treasures? Wang Xing sneered. Nonsense, it's just not the right time. Wang Sheng, hand over Long Chen. Otherwise, the Wang family will be eliminated from the top 10 families today. A white-haired old man shouted coldly. The aura on his body was extremely shocking as it pressed towards Wang Sheng. He was a peak lever for Martial Emperor Realm Expert. Boom! Boom! At the same time, the experts of the other clans also burst out with powerful auras. The auras combined, and like a storm, they rushed towards Wang Sheng and the others. The dozen or so people of the Wang family were like a lonely boat in the ocean, ready to sink at any moment. The commotion here had naturally alarmed the surroundings. The inscription masters who were guarding the periphery retreated far away and watched everything in shock. Lu Ming was mixed in the crowd, waiting for an opportunity to make a move. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the northern sky. There, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure. This pressure was approaching him rapidly. Selah. In the next moment, the space cracked open. Hundreds of figures stepped out from the crack. Each figure stood proudly in the sky and earth. Each one of them was a terrifying expert. Emperors, all of them were emperors. All of a sudden, over 100 emperors came. As soon as these sovereigns appeared, their auras burst out and pressed down on the cultivators of the South God Palace. Between heaven and earth, auras intersected, and a muffled thunder-like sound rang out. North God Palace. Wang Sheng, you are colluding with the North Deity Palace. Suddenly, several angry roars burst out in the South God Palace. The experts who arrived later were the experts of the North Divine Palace. Ha! What do you mean by colluding? This is cooperation. Wang Sheng laughed and brought Long Chen to break out of the encirclement and join the people of the North God Palace. Don't even think about it. Leave Long Chen behind. The Wang clan must be exterminated. The experts of the South God Palace were all furious. They attacked together, and a terrifying attack was blasted towards Wang Sheng. Kill. The experts from the North God Palace didn't waste any words. At this moment, they also made their move and attacked the experts from the South God Palace. On the side of the South God Palace, they could only send out their experts to block the North God Palace. At this moment, hundreds of powerhouses were in a chaotic battle. Boom! A wisp of energy hit the mountain below, causing it to explode and turn into ashes. Not good, run, quickly run. The inscription masters and the martial artists below the Emperor realm were all running for their lives. The scene of hundreds of emperors fighting together was too terrifying. Bright lights lit up all over the South God Palace. There were inscriptions that formed into inscription formations. Buzz! Whoosh! At the same time, people from all over the South God Palace were also rushing toward the battlefield. They were all emperor-level experts. After all, this was the territory of the South God Palace. There were many experts who were constantly rushing over to gather. Slowly, the South God Palace gained the upper hand. Although the North Divine Palace was the strongest of the four great divine palaces, it was impossible for the North Divine Palace to come in full force. Facing the frenzied counterattacks of the South Divine Palace, they began to fall into a disadvantage. In the sky, there was a bloody rain and a foul wind. Corpses kept falling down. They were all the corpses of emperors. Boom! Boom! A terrifying fluctuation spread out. It was a battle between lever for martial royal realm experts. It was extremely shocking. Wang Sheng, hand over Long Chen. A clan head was staring at Wang Sheng and fighting with him. Ji Feng, you think you can stop me? Get lost. Wang Sheng erupted, and his entire body was covered in saint light. A sword of saint light forced Ji Feng back, and he brought Long Chen with him as he continued to attack. He wanted to meet up with the people from the North Deity Palace, but Ji Feng and his men blocked Wang Sheng's path. The other patriarchs of the South Divine Palace led their men and fought against the experts of the North Divine Palace. You guys take Long Chen and rush out of the South God Palace. I'll hold them off. Wang Sheng ordered his subordinates. At the same time, holy light spread out from his body. It was extremely dazzling, turning into countless swords of holy light. In an instant, they enveloped Ji Feng and the other experts. He wanted to stall his opponent by himself and let his men break out with Long Chen. Among the 10 great clan leaders of the South God Palace, Wang Sheng's battle strength was enough to rank in the top 3. Ji Feng roared and exploded with all his strength. However, for the time being, he was unable to break through Wang Sheng's obstruction. Wang Sheng's subordinates were about to rush out with Long Chen. No one noticed that Long Chen's eyes were getting redder and redder, revealing a ferocious look. Roar! At this moment, Long Chen let out an angry roar. It didn't sound like a human's roar, but more like an ancient beast awakening. An Archean dragon-esque elephant the size of a mountain appeared above Long Chen's head, bursting with a terrifying aura. All of a sudden, Long Chen broke free from the man's grasp and transformed into an immemorial dragon elephant. How did he recover his cultivation? An emperor of the Wang family exclaimed. Long Chen's cultivation had been sealed, but how did it recover now? While they were stunned, the Archean dragonesque elephant roared and stomped on a lever one martial royal realm expert with its leg, which was like a heavenly pillar. The emperor was caught off guard and let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was torn apart by the stomp. His body and soul were both destroyed. He had killed a first-level martial emperor in one move. In the distance, Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Dragon Star seemed to be undergoing some kind of mutation. Lu Ming could see clearly that Long Chen's cultivation should be at the 9th level of the spiritual god realm. Although he had made great progress since the initial screening, it was impossible for Long Chen to kill a first-level martial emperor with one move given his combat strength. The reason might be that Dragon City's immemorial dragon elephant bloodline was in an abnormal state, and its combat power had been greatly improved. After killing a first-level martial royal realm expert with a single move, the Archean dragonesque elephant charged forward and knocked back the other two martial royal realm experts. It then fled into the distance. If you want to leave, then stay. A third-level martial royal realm expert from the Wang family attacked the Archean dragonesque elephant with a cold expression. Boom! The Archean dragonesque elephant was forced back, and its body exploded. Humph, you still dare to resist? Then I'll cripple your cultivation. As long as you don't die, you can still use the primordial chaos token. The lever 3 martial royal realm expert from the Wang family had a cold expression as he charged toward Long Chen. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.